everybody, and welcome to the Tartar Zones live panel of Eve of the Daleks. Eve of the fucking Daleks. I just I've just had to be handed a big piece of information before we come on. From someone who's leaked something, and they were spot on with their leak. Now they've added some other stuff about the upcoming stories, and the fact that this leaker has been true, I might as well tell you out straight. So Yaz and the Doctor will finally have an on-screen kiss if the rumours that I've been given, screenshot the rumours, are true. This leaker was absolutely spot on about everything that happened in this episode, right? So if you to go by what they did and they wrote about in this episode and they got a spot on, well then it's safe to assume that the other information that they've put out is absolutely spot on. I will read it, right? And wait till you hear how spot on this person was about today's episode, right? No mess. I want to give credit to Unknown289 who found it. It's not an old photoshopped image, is it? No. This is just information, but it just goes to show you that the person that was putting out this information was actually spot on. So they said about New Year's Eve episode is mostly filler, comedy, confusing mess with nothing happens apart from the introduction of the executioner Daleks. Second special is about a Chinese pirate versus dragons, which are really the sea devils. Third is about the division again. Graham is back because for some reason his Lipari survived, so he gets reunited with the Doctor. Apparently, cause of regeneration is she has to save Yaz, having an angel in her eye by transferring it. So she kisses the Doctor, transfer the angel into herself, basically. The regeneration scene cuts before it finishes. So basically what's going to happen is that there's going to be an angel inside Yaz, and in order for the Doctor to save Yaz, she has to kiss her, because we have to have them, do that little bit in the TARDIS. And then because she's absorbed the angel, then she regenerates, but then the regeneration cuts. So we're not even going to get to see who the 14th Doctor is. All we're going to see is the regeneration energy. She starts to regenerate, and then it's going to end. There you go. So that's what's coming, and that's from the fella that leaked this information and was spot on about the Dalek one. So there you go. They're going to kiss. They're going to finally do it. All this baiting. And this is why I'm mad, actually. There is no justification for this whatsoever. Yes, on Yaz's part, there's been a line here or two, but the Doctor has never really acknowledged it. Or in my opinion, I don't think the Doctor feels the same way as Yaz does. But apparently it's not even, the Doctor's not even going to kiss Yaz because she loves her, right? She's going to kiss her because there's a weeping angel in her eye and she has to get rid of it. So again, this baiting by Chris Chibnall, I said it out straight on Twitter, you're a fucking hack. You're a hack. You're an absolute disgrace to this show. Now you're roping in the Sea Devils, you absolute donkey. Get the fuck out. Do you know what? The sooner you're gone, the better. Right, well, you are gone, but I mean, the sooner these episodes are over, the bloody better. Absolutely disgraceful. Now, I'm not going to use the word queer, right? I'm going to call it Q-baiting, because I don't like that word. I think that word is very offensive to gay people and lesbians. They don't even like using the word, right? And how I know this, because I know a few gay people, and I talk to them, and they know, and they've said to me that they don't like that word. The word is an insult, right? So I'm not going to use it. So I'm going to say Q-baiting. So if anybody is wondering when I mentioned the word Q-baiting, remember I'm referring to the word that I don't want to say because I think it's offensive. But overall, for me, this episode was just boring. And then the scenes with Dan and Yaz were just cringe inducing, to be quite honest with you. And now we know what Dan's role is in this, right? Dan's role basically in this whole setup is to get Yaz to kind of reveal her feelings to the doctor. And then what does he do? He goes and tells the doctor, oh, she likes you. And then she looks at her, I don't know what you mean. She likes you. And then Jodie's doctor makes a bit of a face. So I don't think on Jodie doctor's part, she actually fancies Yaz. But now she knows that Yaz fancies her. There you go. Right, I'm gonna bring on my panel. So I'm gonna send out emails. I have to remember who does be on these panels actually, because it's been a while since a couple of weeks since we've done a panel. So I'll send out the emails. So just bear with me. It's going to take a couple of minutes because of this setup. Absolutely disgraceful. He ought to be ashamed of himself anyway. You know, he's not even doing it respectfully. But I know the other side will be fucking delighted now, and I can already hear them. Oh, look at all the homophobic people out there. Oh, they're all being homophobic. They just can't let Yaz and the doctor be in love. It's nothing to do with homophobia. It's got to do with the fact that it hasn't been done properly, and he just keeps Q-baiting fans. And it's absolutely disgraceful. And even if they do kiss, it's not even going to be a romantic kiss. It's going to be a kiss because she needs to say Yaz. So listen, if that's good enough for you, right, that there's no substance to this so-called invisible relationship that you all think is going on, then fine, fair enough. But for me as a Doctor Who fan, I want a bit more meat on me bones. Right, if you're going to do something like this, you must do it respectfully. And Chris Chibnall's not doing it respectfully. It's absolutely disgusting what he's doing, actually. Disgusting. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised anymore. Right, emails are going out. I have to check one of my old panels and see who I fucking had on them. Absolutely disgraceful. I don't care what anyone look at. I don't care if all these little muppets want to call me homophobic. Go ahead. I'm not homophobic. I want stuff. If you're going to do stuff like this, especially in Doctor Who, it has to be done with respect, right? And it also has to be done tactfully and tastefully. It's doing none of those things. He ought to be ashamed of himself. He really should be ashamed of himself, but he won't be. He won't be because he's a hack. Right? I'm sending out emails. I've already sent out 2 emails to Charlotte and Lee. So if you could do me a favour and check our emails. They might be a bit slow coming in. You're looking sus now. 5 Nights at Freddy's. Yeah. Oh yes. There we go. So Sigmund, Marty, and Real Super Doctor. Right. So. Oh, someone just got boiled in Yellowstone National Park. It's just at the popping up on me YouTube channel. They were boiled alive. Well, you shouldn't have been near the edge, you twat. No sympathy. I do see it all the time. Americans, right? They're literally up beside these things, right? Taking photographs of them, right? There's even barriers to tell them to keep out, right? And then some feckin' idiot gets boiled to death there. You know, no sympathy, man. Break the rules, that's what happens. Right, so Sigma, sending your email too. Sorry about this. This is taking ages because I've got the camera and the bleeding light set up. I can imagine once I get the mic, this is going to be a bleeding disaster. So Sea Devils are back. Sea Devils are back. Yes. Real Super Doctor. This is taken. Jesus Christ, man, come on. I just. This is not what Doctor Who is supposed to be all about anyway. I mean, I don't know what his vision is for Doctor Who. I really don't, because it's this isn't Doctor Who. I'm sorry, it's not. It's not Doctor Who, and that Q baiting is absolutely disgraceful. I don't care what anybody says. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful because it's not done. It's not done with any respect. Look at how RTD did it. Look at how RTD introduced LGBTQ plus characters into the show. Right? Look at the character acts that he actually gave all of these actors and actresses that were playing those roles. Right? And look at the way Chris Chibnall does it with Yaz Khan. Right? There is no way. It's disrespectful. I don't care what anybody says. It's done wrong. Done wrong. This isn't the worst episode. It's not, and I'm going to say that, but it is boring. I think there's worse. Orphan 55 is definitely worse, and I think there's a couple of worse episodes in Doctor Who Flux. The thing about this, it was just a bore. Just a bar, and then you had all that nonsense added in, right? And now we know what Dan's role is in this whole show. It's to basically get them two together. Pathetic. Right, I'm sending the last email now, and then we'll get this panel on, and we'll get this show on the road. But Chris Chibnall, I said it on Twitter. And I'm very vocal on Twitter, and I don't give a fuck. Me tweet is actually after blowing up a little bit. But this was my response, and I don't care. I wrote, so Chibs, Q baiting fans again, you shameful piece of shit. You are a fucking hack. You are worst thing to happen this show, and now you are bringing back the Sea Devils, you absolute joke of a hack. And that's what he is. He's a fucking joke. Right, so Real Super Doctor, I've sent you your link. I've also sent the link to Sigma and Marty if you are in the chat. No background to Yaz feelings for the Doctor. Exactly, and that's why I'm giving out. Because there is no background. But all of these fans that are on the other side will be lapping it up. Oh, it's great! The Doctor and Yaz are going to fall in love. Fucking idiots. Right, we got the whole panel here. Oh, Wolf and the Storm. I'll send her the link, man. Send her the link, because it's taking me about 15 minutes to send a fucking email. So send Wolf and the Storm the link if you can, please, because as you can see, my screen's jumping. So let's bring on our panel anyway. So we'll start off with ladies first. So we've got royalty on the channel, as we always do, folks. It's the one and only Queen Sharon.
Hello.
Nice to see you. We've got Sigma later joining us on the panel as well. Welcome.
Evening, all.
We've got Marty C joining us on the panel too. Welcome, Marty.
Dear Lord above.
Say nothing yet.
Marty, we're all going to have plenty to say in a minute, mate.
Say nothing yet. We've got Real Super Doctor.
Hey.
And we got the one that's going to have a rant, but I reckon my rant is going to outrant him. It's the one and only Problem Big. No, it's not. He's silent.
He might be sending the email for you.
He might be sending the email, so I'll respond for him. Oh, bitch! I knew you were going to set that up. But look, right, okay. I'm going to read out this super chat first. Do you need my email? No, I have your email. The problem is, give me a second. I'll try to send you the email now, but it's going to take a few minutes because I've got a new camera and I've got this leading light set up and the Chromebook is running slow. So bear with me. I do still have your emails. Don't worry. I save all the emails of all the guests that we've had on. And we're going to get into this in a minute. We'll wait for Wolf and Storm, and then we're just going to get straight into it. Now, lads and ladies, I just want just a little word of caution, though. You know, just don't say anything too controversial, if you know what I mean. Because, you know, we don't want to get into trouble, or to be perceived that we're doing. Hold on, I didn't have your fucking email. No, you'll have to send me your email again. What is going on? Can someone just send her the link, please, for me? It'd be easier.
Well, I can't because I'm still suspended because Twitter is a bunch of anti-Semites.
Right, well, here, Wolfenstorm, I'm just putting it in the chat. Right, so there you go. It's in the chat. Get in here straight away so I can delete it then. Hold on, I want to change me. I'm going to be in the middle because I'm the boss. There we go. It looks better that way because I'm the only one that has.
Well, should we start with the few things I guess some of us liked?
No, because we're not going to talk about anything that we liked in this episode.
I thought it'd be a short section, so I thought we might as well get it done in the beginning.
We're not going to talk about anything that we liked in this episode because there was very, very little to like about this episode. But if you want to try out some things that you did like, go ahead, but it's a waste of time.
Oh, trust me, mate. It's literally 2 points.
Go for it.
It's the fact that finally somebody said to Jodie's doctor, "You are a horrible person and you cause a lot of death and destruction," which has been due for about 2 series. So that was nice. I'll take my little victories where I can with this era. And the shot when the TARDIS was like sort of coming in on itself. I can't think of the proper term.
Yeah, I'll admit
that was a good amount of like computers and actually a good scene.
And don't forget Jodie and Yaz being murdered multiple times.
Yeah, but that did nothing for me. Literally.
Oh, it helped me. It helped me a little bit.
The first time that happened, I was kind of like gleeful about, as you could say. But then when it happened the second, third, fourth time, I was kind of like, "Oh Jesus Christ, just leave him there."
Oh, that didn't wear thin on me at all.
Actually, to be fair, because Charlotte is right, we always start off with the positives. Fuck it, because I'll be criticised if we don't cover the positives. So, other than the 2 things that Charlotte has mentioned, does anybody else on the panel got anything else positive to say about this story? Knock yourselves out. Go ahead.
I like the Daleks Gatling gun.
So did I. But why did they keep missing?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's ridiculous.
They cannot shoot to save their lives. Oh my God.
Still
in front of them, and they still miss. And the Gatling gun had a wide berth. So for them to miss that, that's just
ridiculous. I mean, you're running down a fucking tiny corridor, right? It's a thin corridor. There's nowhere left to go other than running in a straight line, and they still missed.
Yeah, and also the Daleks literally let people talk at them for a bit before they shot them.
Right? Yeah.
Stop. Positives for. They're negatives.
Yeah, we did that.
Bring yourself in. Whoa. Right, positives for. So
yeah, we did that.
As I said, other than what Charlotte has mentioned, is there any other positives for anybody else on the panel? Yes or no?
Yes. I think the special effects in this were quite good. It was see that wall that came up and he was actually touching and he get the shock from it. It was actually it looked absolutely real. And I did like the fact that the TARDIS was changing. You know how the TARDIS was fixing itself internally, and that's how the Doctor was resetting it. I thought when they were exiting the TARDIS and she went into slow motion and you saw these walls shifting and that, I thought that was pretty good.
The wall shifting was great, and the center console just fucking lovely looking. I have to say that was. But other than that, but think about what so far. What we thought the positives have been. We haven't actually said anything about the Act Another Story right now. because there is nothing positive. Right, before we do get into the negatives, any more positives from anybody? Now's the time to speak up, because if not, we're going straight into what we didn't like about this, and by God, it's going to be fun. By the way, we've got 90 people watching right now. I know half of you are people that hate me, but do me a favor, if you did like this episode and you did like the Q baiting, tell me why in the chat. Have the balls to actually come in and interact with the chat and tell us why you actually like this episode tonight. Why not fight your corner and tell us why we're wrong and you guys are right? So I'm offering you the chance to come on into the live comments there and give your opinions on why you thought this episode was a good episode, because 89 people watching me now, right? I can tell you now, from running this channel for over doing this the last 3 years, covering the Jodie Whittaker era, 3 series I should say, that 90 people watching me, and half of them are people that hate me. So you guys now have an opportunity, because you're all watching, right? Then you will take me little clips of me stream and throw it up on Twitter. Why not come in and actually interact with me and engage with the panel and tell us why we're wrong and why you enjoyed this episode? You have that opportunity. I just wanted to say that straight away, just get that out of the way. And don't forget, folks, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't watched the episode, I'd advise that you don't watch the stream, because as I will always say, it doesn't matter what I or the panel think about this episode ourselves, right? I would suggest that before you make a comment about it, you go and watch the episode yourself. Because, you know, if you're going to give out about something that you haven't watched, well, I'm sorry, then you don't have a valid argument. So,
hey, Clobby, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Clobby Times. Happy New Year. By the way, just before we do start again, I have put up those photographs of Alpha Omega. Again, another day we haven't heard from Alpha. Now, Real Super Doctor did tell me on Twitter that apparently he did say that he was taking a break off Twitter until the new year. That's fair enough, mate, but Lee will tell you it doesn't mean that he'd still respond to private messages. So this is why we're worried, because he would still reply. You know, he wouldn't ignore everybody. Yeah, he'll take a break, but he'd still keep in contact. So that's why we've put up the photograph and stuff like that. So if anybody out there does know who Alpha, he lives in Philadelphia apparently. If there's anybody in the Philadelphia area, we've got those photographs there. If you could, I know it's a long stretch, but we have to try something here. We need to get in contact with him and make sure he's all right. Because the last time I spoke to him, he said he was sick with the tooth, and he said he was pretty bad. So that's why we're worried about him. So if anybody knows him personally, please get in contact with any of us on this channel to let us know what the situation is. And if he can't come onto social media, then that's understandable. But we need to know if he's okay. Right. So that out of the way, let's get into the negatives, right? And I'm going to start with Charlotte first, because me and Lee are going to go last, because I know me and Lee are going to have a lot to say. So I'm going to let the rest of the panel speak first, and then me and Lee are probably going to go on a bit of a rant, because I'm geared up for one right now, because I'm so pissed off. So Charlotte, what was it about this episode that? Okay, I want to ask you. I didn't actually ask you. Did you like this episode first of all?
No. No.
Right. Tell us why you didn't like the episode.
Because it felt so everywhere, which I had a feeling it was going to be, because in the promotion they were telling us 5 or 6 different things this one episode was meant to be, and you had the attempt of comedy with the part with the. See, I can't even remember their names. That's how badly written they were. With the 2 new actor and actress. So they were meant to have comedy there, which typical Chibnall fashion, it just was flat. And I know that actress. I've seen her in panel shows. She's very funny. And he somehow made her not funny, because the lines, and I'm not saying this was anything to do with her delivery, It was purely the lines. And I felt like the dialogue here was so pedestrian, was so dull. And I think that's what makes you feel bored watching something, if your dialogue is just really, like, nothing was exciting in the dialogue, nothing was like got you thinking or any emotions, even though they were trying. And that's what I'm going to get to. So we went from comedy to all this romance stuff with obviously Yaz and the Doctor and this couple.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do a lot of character work, you need to have two things. You need to have either really interesting characters that you actually like, or you need to have like knockout dialogue. And he had none of those things. And the problem was they made the male out to be a complete sado at the beginning. It was all the jokes were at his expense.
Yeah.
The whole thing with him having all the items from his exes in the monster.
Yeah, that was fucking.
I was like, I'm sorry, no, that's beyond. That's now going on to creep territory, and we're supposed to either find that endearing. I don't know. That's the problem. It's like he puts these things in scripts, and I don't know how I'm supposed to take them, because for me that just came across as he's a creep. But was it meant to be funny? Was it meant to be, like I said, I don't know. In other ways, they just made him out to be a complete idiot. So much with the dialogue. How they treated Dan, I thought, was terrible this episode. Beyond, like, he literally, in one loop, said, I'm going to go and die and sacrifice myself in front of a Dalek for you. And then in the next scene, they don't even, like, congratulate, or they don't even, like, acknowledge he's done it.
Yeah.
They just go straight to, right, back to the adventure. And, like, before that, there was blatant lines that were making him out to be an idiot. So I now think Dan's role, considering what happened to him in the finale, is just to be a punching bag. Because he's just, and he didn't do, like I said, he had that moment which was in any other script would have been a good heroic moment, but they didn't say, oh, like, I'm so sorry you had to do that, or congratulate him, or do anything in the next loop. Like I said, and the whole loop thing was written with no interest whatsoever. Because the whole idea of a loop, usually in this sort of story in sci-fi, is
you learn
something each time, and you get a bit better, or you find it. And they did that, like, for one bit with obviously the getting to the level 5, but that was it. Like, the Doctor didn't come across as more intelligent either loop. I think she was written completely useless in this episode.
Yeah.
Like, any other Doctor would be like, right, I know this, I've learnt this, I can do this. It would be a learning exercise. Whereas with Jodie, it was just, I'm going to flap around every loop. Yeah, I agree with you with the whole Yaz and Doctor thing. They just went around the houses. They didn't want to fully admit in the script what Yaz was feeling. That whole scene with Dan and her, she couldn't even admit it herself that she loved the Doctor.
I know, that's what she says. I can't admit
and
it to me.
It's like, I'm sorry, if even Yaz can't say it, and you've got the Doctor carrying on to deny this, it just comes across as you're scared to death to fully commit. You were scared to death to fully... Oh, that's all it needed from Yaz, just to say, yes, I do love her. But they couldn't even say that. And that's something definite. That's something that's... You can't... At the moment, you could still interpret this as a really close friendship. You could interpret it that way because of the dialogue, because of the way they're treating it.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'll tell you what I was just thinking of. I've seen this sort of story with Martha and the Doctor, and it was done so much better with Martha and Ten, because you understood why the Doctor was not seeing it in Martha because he was grieving, because he was still getting over Rose. So what's Jodie's Doctor's excuse here to be this blatantly ignoring of it? And like with Martha, from the get-go, you saw her start to have feelings for the Doctor. Whereas with Yaz, it's been like mentioned now and again. And even then, it's not been that well done. So it's just Martha again, but done terribly, in my opinion. The Daleks were just window dressing. Like they just were there for a bit of a threat, but then the problem was, and this is what I meant by so many different tones going on, you had the bits that were supposed to be, oh, scary, we have Daleks after us, but then in the next scene, you have a 10-minute scene about people discussing their feelings. So it's like, you can't have both in the same episode. This felt like it was almost, I think I've worked out what it is. I felt like I was watching an episode fighting itself when it came to what type of episode it wanted to be and what tone it wanted to have. And like I said, it's just the whole, and like it was so obvious it was the TARDIS causing it, and it took them like half the episode to tell us it was the TARDIS. So it's not the worst. I will agree with you there. We've had worse, but this, all the usual faults of Chibnall were fully on show.
It was very predictable because as I was watching, I was figuring stuff out as I was watching. That's the thing. It was predictable. It was boring, and then we had all that other nonsense going on. I just don't know what to say anymore. But here we got a £5 super chat. Thank God those Davros rumors didn't come true because Davros would have been ruined. Yeah, some people are saying that Davros' scene was actually cut. Which I wouldn't be surprised if Davros was supposed to be in this and it was cut. We've also got another, and I will read this super chat out because I do want to respond to it because he just can't help himself. So where is it? Where's this super chat? Hold on, there we go. So our notorious troll Andrew Jones says, I liked it because my mother liked it. So basically, you didn't like it yourself, but your mother liked it, so that's the reason why you liked it. You get away.
Oh yeah, and very quickly, Garbage reminded me, we even had a scene where a Dalek said Dan was inferior. And and I know some people say, oh, she's joking, but it's the fact that he was treated horribly throughout the episode. And Yaz basically said, oh, that's a smart Dalek, so agreeing with a Dalek that Dan's inferior.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. It's. I felt almost like there was series 11 moments here of blatant, let's have politics.
Yeah.
Someone asked, is Bolstrek coming on? No, Bolstrek does his own reviews of the episode. He doesn't be on these panels. He does be on the classic panels. I think he does. To be honest, I think once is enough for him. To be honest with you, so he'll do his own review. So look out for his review when he does finally drop it out. Seriously, if you only had one eye, you can't judge distance very well. The Daleks were always poor shots, says David Rayner. That's fair enough to a certain extent, but the fact that they were, as Lee has rightly pointed out, that they were actually in narrow corridors where there was no room of escape and they were still missing people. Sure, look at Aisling B's character. She was in the lift and the Dalek was shooting in the lift and managed to miss her several fucking times.
Oh yeah, and also I've just remembered a scene where Dan literally escaped being shot by walking around the Dalek.
Yeah, he walked around the Dalek. He ran around the bleeding Dalek to stop her from shooting at him. Yeah.
You're telling me that that's not been tried before?
Or he's the only one that's figured fucking out how to not be shot by Daleks. I know.
Yeah.
They can shift their middle sections as well, so it should be able to shift its middle section around to catch him off guard.
Yeah. Charlotte, do you want to add anything else before I get Sigma to pipe in?
Well, no, like I said, just it's not the worst, but God, it had some of the worst tropes of this era.
Fantastic. Right, Sigma, you go ahead.
Oh, is there anything left to say really? The characters, I hated them. There was nothing to them. I thought Ashley B, she was just loud and obnoxious. I can't even remember these characters' name. Her would-be love interest was just sad, creepy, and both the male characters treated like trash. And then there's again the Thasmin baiting, which is just getting irritating at this. Well, it's been irritating for a while, but this was especially bad. I suppose my biggest complaint. Oh, sorry.
Go on. No, go on.
I was going to say my biggest complaint is that I was just bored.
Yeah.
The whole time I was just bored.
I think my favourite line was in the episode. Well, it wasn't my favourite line. I'm taking the piss here. I think when Dan says to the Doctor, "Well, you saved the universe last week, so I owe you one." And I was like, "What? She didn't save the universe.
No, exactly.
Destroyed, like, what the hell are you talking about? Why? What the hell? Why is this? Oh, we got garbage. Is that garbage? We got someone in. How did that happen when I did? All right, well, if it's garbage, is it garbage? Is that you, garbage? Hello, garbage? Okay.
Oh.
You're removed just in time. So you're not garbage, you're pretending to be someone else. Try to get your stream taken down hard, look. Try again. Try again, you moron. But this is what we have to put up with. So, banned from the studio. Absolute tosspot. See that? I knew something was going to go on, so I got it off before they showed Anton because I know what they were going to do. They normally drop a bit of porn to try get me taken down. You are a sad little individual. Again, as I said, if anybody did like this episode and disagrees with the panel, that's fine, fair enough. I would encourage you to come into the comment section there and actually tell us why we're wrong instead of being a little bit of a creep bag. And we have your face now as well, you bleeding absolute idiot. So, grow up because we won't be putting up with this next year either. No, I think you actually I put the stream in for Wolfenstein, but I did delete it. But apparently they got a hold of it before I deleted it, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm wait because Garbage usually lets me know what's going on if it's him.
Yeah, so Garbage said it wasn't him, so it wasn't Garbage. So again, we've got their face anyway, or maybe they just use someone else's face because that's what they do. I've got me suspicions who it actually is, and they're sad. But anyway, let's get back into it. But as I said to the 102 people that are watching, if there's some in there that are watching that don't actually agree with us, why not have the decency instead of trying to sabotage the stream? Come on to the chat and tell us why we're wrong and why you thought the episode was great. Okay, Sigma, anything else you want to add before I go on to Real Super Doctor?
No, that's pretty much all I had to say on it.
Okay, Real Super Doctor, you go ahead.
I think Charlotte highlighted everything that was wrong with this episode. I mean, for me, it was a complete bore. It was very predictable, and it was just the characters. The comic timing just wasn't. Chibnall couldn't. It can't even do comedy, especially for the characters, and I just started to kind of get bored earlier on, and I just felt like kind of getting away from it. But I just kept watching it to see what would happen in that. But the characters, the relationship with the characters, the dialogue with the characters were just absolutely poorly conceived, poorly written. The actress that I don't know her name. She was good in it. She was trying at least. You could see that she was a good actress.
B is a good actress. Look, Ashley B is a good actress, but again, someone just said it there. the guest stars again have been wasted, to be quite honest with you. And I think Aisling and even Pauline Malin, who played Mrs. Doyle, I mean, she was literally on a phone throughout the whole episode. So someone joked, she phoned it in.
That was lockdown stuff.
Yeah. But in fairness, right, I even said it during the watch along. That's a typical Irish mammy though. A person when you ring up your mammy and you tell your mammy that you love them, the first thing they actually think, are you dying? What's wrong? that is, now I have to admit, he got that spot on, and I thought that was funny. I did laugh at a few moments that were genuinely funny, but this was, let's not forget, this was actually, the synopsis said that this was a rom-com. So it was a romantic comedy, right? There was nothing really romantic or comedic about this episode whatsoever, to be quite honest with you. Again, as I said, without Chris Chibnall and his trailers and his synopsises, they're not really true to what actually goes on in the story itself. But I'm going to shut up because I'll just wait until everybody else has their say. But Real Super Doctor, do you want to add anything else before I bring in the next guest?
Yeah, I thought it was really predictable because we all knew that it was the TARDIS that was causing it, but I thought it was a real cop out, you know, with the TARDIS and all the black goo and all the cobwebs all over it, and the Doctor managed to reset the TARDIS and that. But I thought the Daleks there were just like they weren't anything really menacing. They were just like basic stand-ins. I mean, where did they come from? What was their purpose? I mean, why were they in this episode?
They did explain their purpose, but the purpose was so fucking ridiculous it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So apparently they were holding her to account for killing all the other Daleks, right? So my question has to be this then. If she killed all the Daleks and committed genocide, where did these fucking 3 Daleks come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, why haven't they done this before? How many times has the Doctor wiped out, like, hordes of Daleks?
Yeah, and not held her accountable. Exactly. It was just, look, for me, even the dialogue with the Daleks was stupid. They're not even talking like, you weren't even talking like Daleks in this episode. Look, for me, right, while this isn't the worst episode that Chris Chibnall has produced, it is the worst Dalek special. Because I think his other Dalek specials were so much better than this. And the Daleks actually spoke like Daleks. In this one, they did, Daleks do not have fear, right? I know that line. But then all the other dialogue that they had, I was just like, Daleks wouldn't talk like that. Jesus Christ.
They almost sounded like humans talking at times.
Yeah.
Daleks do not move stuff, or whatever it was.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like humans, like really stupid lines that you wouldn't give it.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Stupid fucking lines. Like I just don't. You know what? I just don't know. Marty.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Dear Christ, where do we start? Can we just go, like, for starters? I know they probably couldn't do it with COVID, but the fact that Polly McLean, Mrs. Doyle, she was the one thing I was looking forward to, and they underused her criminally. They just underused her criminally, and like anytime we did see her, I actually, I enjoyed the bits that she was in. But anyway, negatives. As you say, I just thought the whole thing was boring. There was nothing there. It felt like it was just a load of ideas that were just sort of. It's a sort of, I always get the idea with Chibnall is that he has like three or four different ideas and he just tries to mash them all together, and it never really works out. You can tell that this episode was done on the cheap. Like, Ashley B even said it herself a few weeks ago that the episode was written within 2 weeks. That script was done within 2 weeks. So you can tell that, it hadn't really been refined or tweaked. Maybe their original idea went out the window or whatever, but I thought that, as you say, the dialogue with the Daleks was like, they were saying lines that were just it was as if there was like a human inside the bloody Dalek saying these lines. It didn't, they weren't natural Dalek. I am not Nick. Daleks do not do stuff. Daleks do not have managers. stupid lines like that. That's like, it's like Chibnall just tried to, say a ha 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 joke, ha 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 ha. It's as if he's trying to, try to be funny, but it's not funny at all. And just the constant reset. Like I got nothing from the characters at all. The guy that played Nick, Ashley B. I actually liked, but as Charlotte said, it was the lines that let her down. She's a great actress, but it was just, she was making the best of what she had to work with, and it wasn't really that much. You could tell that, the dialogue was awful, but that was nothing to do with her delivery. On to other things that pissed me off. The one thing that really did piss me off, and I was absolutely raging at the end of it, was they were sort of baiting the whole idea of, at the start of the TARDIS is going to be reset. The TARDIS is going to be reset. Like they run out of the TARDIS, and then that scene at the end where she's like, all fixed. Was anybody half expecting? I know it was never going to happen, but was anybody half expecting there to be a new console room at the end of that?
No, but you can tell that was the bit of the hope that they put in the script for us.
I was hoping it wasn't going to get resolved, because I'm like, what's the point of resetting that? I mean, they should have carried on. I mean, if you look at the way the TARDIS looked in all the promotional material, it was cracked and broken and it would have made sense to have made that carry on through to the end, because it's all going to be redone anyway, because we know the TARDIS console room has been torn down. So why go through all of that just to fucking reboot it back again? It just seems
because it was a plot device. It needed to happen for the time loop.
Yeah, but he thought he was being clever too. See, this is the thing I don't get. I was watching the episode and I predicted a lot of stuff that was going to happen as I was watching. That's the problem. He thinks he's actually being clever, but he's so predictable that you can predict these things before they even happen. I even knew how the dude was going to kill the two Daleks before it even happened. I said, all he just needs to do is duck. What does he do? He ducks and kills them. Like, he thinks he's being clever here, right? The Daleks are an absolute disgrace, and this is the worst he's actually done, the Daleks. That dialogue from the Daleks, I'm sorry, no Dalek talks like that. Right?
Like
Chav Daleks. Yeah, I agree, they're like Chav Daleks. For fuck's sake, they don't talk like Daleks, they're talking like bleeding humans. And you think Nick Briggs, and I just want to point out about Nick Briggs, he's been doing the Daleks for fucking decades now. You mean to tell me when you were handed that script that you didn't look at that and say, Daleks don't talk like that? You just went with it? Like, I know you're shooting for them and you're defending them and blah, 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 because you want to keep your licenses, right, for your bleeding audios. But you mean to tell me when you picked up that script, you looked at it and you said, yeah, that's how Daleks talk. Get the fucking boat. Get the fucking boat.
It's a bit of a shame because like the dialogue for the Daleks was that bad, and I'll be fair where I can be fair here. I thought the dialogue in the last two specials was better than this.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But whatever he's it just seems like once you hear the line of it being written in 2 weeks, you just know rightly that it's it seems like this episode seemed like something that was maybe they had something different planned for the special. With COVID and everything, it seems like something that was written at the last minute just to fill the slot.
Yeah.
Do you think? I've had a thought.
Davros was supposed to be in this episode. I know for a fact he was, and I think his scenes were cut. I think they've pared this episode down. They've re-edited it like they've done with most of Doctor Who Flux. We've said it about Doctor Who Flux. If you look at it, it looks like it's being edited by a 5-year-old. Right? Same with this episode. There were scenes definitely cut out of this, and I reckon those scenes involved Davros. But then when they looked at the overall story, it didn't make sense having him in it, so they cut them out. That's
I've got another possible thought. Do you think maybe before they got the extra 2 specials, this slot was initially going to be Jodie's last episode? And they had to completely scrap it once they knew they were getting more specials.
2 more.
And-
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, that seems feasible.
That makes sense. That actually would make sense. Yeah, but I'm telling you now, man. Right, I know for a fact that Ross. Look, I said it as well. And look, isn't it funny? The Sea Devils are coming back, and I have mentioned the Sea Devils on this channel quite a lot. And I do believe that they were supposed to come back for Series 11, but now he's bringing them. He's actually finally doing it. But the Sea Devils now are in the net. Oh,
Yeah. And you remember that whole thing that they were supposed to be?
Just gonna say in the trailer, the Sea Devils did look impressive, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna be
Yeah, they
good.
did.
I'll tell you one thing, and I know that there's a lot of people not impressed with it. Just a side note, but I'll finish what I was saying. I actually like the look of them. I do like the look of them, but as I say, when I seen the trailer for it, when I see, it was like coming up like the RTD style, where like each one was like legend of the Sea Devils.
Yeah.
As soon as that ended, I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, but the first 60 seconds, I was like, "Oh my god, they're actually bringing them back! They're bringing them back!" And then reality set in, where I was like, "Oh, Chibnall's right in that."
Yeah.
So you have that thing where it's like the first time in nearly 50 years that they're back, and then it's like, yeah, Chibnall's right, and it's like, this is like, I'll save my thoughts on that for another time. But the special was done on the cheap. Ashley B was probably the best thing out of it. Like, as I say, you remember all those rumors that were floating about her being,
The Doctor.
yeah. I know it didn't happen, but she has the acting ability. She would convince me more that she's the Doctor than Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah.
In fairness, though, I think this. Look, while I get your point, for me, it actually showed the reason why she shouldn't be the Doctor. The rumors. Look, I've got to be out straight here. I've said it last night, and I'll say it again. Jodie Whittaker has ruined it right now for another woman to take over this role.
Yeah.
If RTD has any smarts about him, he will cast a man. If he casts another woman, I'm telling you now, I don't care what anybody says, fans are not going to be happy with it. They're not. They're just not.
I just thought that
nonsense has to stop now.
Ashley B actually came out and said in a recent interview, and I was kind of shocked she actually would have the guts to say it, but she came out and said that when they signed her on to do this part, that she felt a little out of her depth because, end quote, "I've never seen an episode of Doctor Who before. It's not my thing."
Well,
so she didn't know what she was in for, and I'm like, "Oh God."
I felt that any scene that she was in with fucking that scene where they were all together and they were trying to come up with a plan, and they're like, deal. Like, I thought she was the standout out of the whole lot. Like, she outperformed Jodie Whittaker on the spot.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
She did. Jodie tried to do a speech and she put on a sinister looking face, and I was kind of like, I'd rather she just put a scrunch face on. You cannot do serious face when you're talking to the Daleks. Just put your scrunch face on. At this stage, I'd accept it because at least you're not trying to fake an evil face. Jesus Christ, could put on a more sinister face than she bleeding could.
The last thing I wanted to say, and that's the other element in the room from this episode, is we know where we're headed now with this whole fucking relationship.
Yeah.
And, it's like you just know that's going to be the main fucking focus point for these next 2 episodes. The problem I have with this is that, yes, you had this been like sort of set up and more established in Series 11, I would have bought it. But the fact that because certain people in the fandom decided to push this narrative, that Chibnall now has obviously decided, well, if that's what they want, that's what we're going to give them. So, it's not believable at all. It is not believable at all. It feels like it's just done to just, push
it. It's pandering. It's not even done with respect, Marty. That's the problem I have with it. I don't want people out there that are listening to me thinking that I'm some sort of homophobic bigot, right? I'm not. If you're going to do a relationship like that, and by the way, I don't think whether the Doctor is male or female, should be in a romantic relationship. That's just my personal opinion. But if you're going to do this and you're going to set up a relationship between those two characters, Yaz and the Doctor. Well, by God, I want you to do it with respect. I want you to fucking put the backstory there. You know, the character development. None of that is there, right? Certainly on Jodie's side as well, her Doctor, even when Dan breaks the news to her that Yaz basically fancies you, look at her face, look at her reaction, right? She doesn't feel anything for Yaz that way. She doesn't. She definitely doesn't.
Well,
Right?
FYI, you know, technically, if some fans would like to look, he is technically still married to River Song. So, you know, talk about cheating in marriage here. Like, I don't think, you know, maybe that's what she'll turn around in the final.
No, that marriage wasn't actually a real marriage, though.
No, she married the Tessellect. You've got to remember.
It wasn't a real
Please don't even go there. That chick had like 15 husbands and didn't. She
married the Doctor. She married the Tessellect. Remember, I told her to look into the eye. She didn't actually marry the Doctor, but still, that's beside the point. The River Song and fucking Matt Smith thing made fucking
the whole thing with Rose was that with the way that ended was quite clear what the message of that was. The Doctor cannot be in a relationship with a human being. It's too damaging. It's like dating a mayfly, and falling in love is the worst possible thing that the Doctor can do because it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous and it's too much.
Like
well, it's the fact that the 10th Doctor in School Reunion highlighted that to Rose. I mean, how upsetting it would be even for him. I mean, it was like
because he ignored and forgot about Sarah Jane. He never spoke about Sarah Jane because it hurt too much.
And it's a slap in the face to such a well-built, well-developed relationship to go from that.
That happened over 4
years. 4 years. As tragedy and heartbreak and all of that, and then we're reduced to this.
Yeah. It's not earned. It all happened off screen. They had some sort of relationship between them develop off screen during the first episode of Flux. So we know all of this happened off screen. It's abysmal. Abysmal.
Before we get we'll ask Wolf and the Storm if Marty.
Hold on, I think Marty wanted to just conclude.
That's what I said.
The last thing I just wanted to say was like Lee was right. Like, you know, that whole what you're saying is that, like, you know, the Doctor can't be in a relationship with a human because either A, you know, eventually the Doctor will outlive them, or B, the Doctor will lose them in some adventure. The Doctor will lose them at some point, and it's, you know, it was made perfectly clear that, you know, as much as the Doctor probably would have wanted to be with Rose, he knows deep down he could never have been. And you like to think that the same logic would still apply, but nope, that doesn't apply anymore. Well, yeah, that's it.
But that's how the Meta-Crisis Doctor could be with Rose, because the Meta-Crisis Doctor only had one heart and no regeneration. But
exactly, and that's why the Doctor told her about that's why that scene was very relevant, because, you know, on one hand you had the Doctor and then you had the Meta-Crisis Doctor, and basically the Meta-Crisis Doctor was there to basically say, well, look, you can't be with the Doctor because it's never going to work out. But here's the Meta-Crisis Doctor for you. Go ahead and fall in love with that one. And that was the whole point of that story arc. But now Chris Chibnall's decided to throw all that out the window now and do his own bloody thing. It's look, I'll get into it in a few minutes. I'll let the Wolf and the Storm say what she has to say. Then we'll ask me, and then I'm going to say what I have to say. But Wolf and Storm, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, this happened within the first 5-10 minutes of the episode. Getting really fucking tired of previous events being ignored. I know that the show has a tendency to give excuses for why humans won't remember things. But in this case, this is blatant and ridiculous. I know that this particular Dalek did not look like the Daleks from Revolution because those were human-made, but they looked enough alike for them to look at this Dalek and be like, what the hell is this? And not remember the Earth almost being taken over just last year by a horde of Daleks is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And
Yeah.
I'm getting
Oh, a
tired.
Dalek. What's a Dalek again? Like,
Yes, I'm getting really tired of the show pulling that shit. That Deus ex machina. Oh, we just don't remember. Whatever. Done. I'm done with that garbage. 2. The Aisling B was great, but the performance was hindered by one of the absolute worst scenes I've ever seen on an episode of Doctor Who. This woman annihilated this poor man to the point where he literally committed suicide because of how she treated him. And he still loved her, even afterwards. Yeah, any goodwill I had towards this chick evaporated after that scene. I don't understand how he could still get up with her after all was said and done. It was just...
Yeah, and it came across, didn't it, Wolf, that she only really started to feel for him out of sympathy because he died.
Because before that, she looked at him like he was a creepy psycho killer.
Well, let's be fair, he was written as one.
Yeah. That and the fact that the blatant insulting of Dan, I really thought in this instance, I mean, he didn't get a lot, but he did get a lot more than he did in the past. I really thought he was starting to come into his own. That was one of the few positives of this episode. And then they tore him down blatantly. That pissed me off because he was willing to give up his own life, even though they were in a time loop. He was willing to give his own life up to distract the Daleks so that the Doctor and Yaz could go through with their plan. And Yaz still stands there acting like he's insignificant. Like, oh, you can't talk shit about Dan. That's my job. Bitch, step off. Like, he's a human being. To say that and insult him like that? I mean, why? Dan's a decent guy, and okay, all relationship crap with the Dr. Yaz aside, I really thought he was being heartfelt with her, trying to get her to fess up to whatever she was feeling, even if we know it's stupid. Because he was relating that to his own situation, not just with Diane, but with what happened with the marriage that never happened. Because you remember he said that he was about to get married and she left him at the altar. Mm-hmm. He's been through it, not once but twice. And he didn't want to see the same thing happen to her. That's a depth of character that I haven't, and a maturity in companions that I haven't seen in this show in a long time. And it's a breath of fresh air. I really miss that. And to tear him down in the same breath just makes me live. I agree with you that there were probably some cuts to this, and it showed in that there were so many plot holes in this episode you could have driven TARDIS through. Like, we know that the Daleks are there supposedly because they were angry that she participated in destroying them, but if they're supposed to all have been destroyed, how did they survive the flux? Yeah, that's a question. And just, okay. I felt like there were stakes there for about a fraction of a second when they said that Nick, if he died at one point, if he died when there was only 5 minutes left, that would be the last time that he was able to die and come back. That it would be that.
Yeah.
When she brought it up, when Aisling B's character brought it up, I was like, well, how the fuck do you know that? You're not the Doctor. How did you just come up with that piece of fact?
You got one cutaway shot where she's looking at her phone and it's like 1 minute after or something like that. That was the only sort of giveaway for that.
Yeah, but she came up with this idea that if he dies that last time, that it'll be for real, out of nowhere, out of whole.
And then, of course, he survived, but then he gets killed anyway.
Yeah,
so
she manages to save him that time, but then when he dies in that round, he comes back anyway. So any kind of stakes with that is just evaporated.
Yep.
And the whole episode is not how a time loop works. I've watched enough Doctor Who and sci-fi to know how a time loop works. You want stakes when it comes to a time loop. Like that episode of Star Trek when they were stuck in a time loop. They had to force themselves to remember the details.
Yep.
Every time it would reset, they wouldn't remember. And it got down to a wire for them to remember. In this, they just automatically remembered everything. Every detail, so it was no big deal for them to come up with a plan to outwit the Daleks. So any any drama to that is just poof, lost.
Yeah, I think what it was is that they lacked the courage of doing the repetition enough times before it starts to sink in that something's wrong, because he fears that the audience with the no attention span whatsoever is going to go, oh, this is boring because it's not doing anything. It's just
I know, but
but we've seen it in previous episodes, especially with like Tom Baker's run. We had time loops going on, and it was literally the same scene again and again, and then it's like, and then they sort of realizing slowly that something was up, and they had a
I remember that series, but it took them time to realize it, and it took them even longer to figure out how to work their way around it, which created tension and rose the stakes. In this, there's no tension because they automatically remembered everything. So all they had to do was a little bit here and there.
Yeah, and Wolf, did anybody else find it weird that literally by the second loop they were already clicking that they'd done it before?
Exactly.
And because I'm not as much of a sci-fi geek as a lot of other people, but even I was like, yeah, that seems a bit quick that you're already clicking there's an issue here. Usually it takes a few more turns for people in these type of stories to realise what's going on.
Yeah. And didn't they reference as well Groundhog Day? Like Dan said one thing and then Yaz said another film or something. I couldn't hear what she said, but I heard him say Groundhog Day and said same difference.
There was another throwaway line that Aisling B's character said that made not a bit of sense. She said, "I hate being here every New Year's Eve. I'm stuck being here because you are always here every year at the same time for your stupid storage room, and you're the only customer I've got." And I'm like, how are you running this business if he's the only customer you've got? Are you just talking about that day? Or are you talking about in general?
See, what they could have done interestingly with that is play that into the time loop idea. Like the same thing happens every year, and now it's happening every few minutes. It's like they could have at least acknowledged that and played that into. I think that would have been quite a nice little bit of writing if you would have just made an analogy to how people repeat the same process every year. You coming in every year doing the same thing, and here we are now doing it every few minutes. So that would have been a good line. But again, too.
Another thing I'm really tired of in this era, especially, how every time that they're running around trying to figure things out, it's always the doctor or somebody else explaining what's happening or what's about to happen. Like in one of the first scenes when they first arrive at the storage and they realize, hey, this isn't the beach, and then they go to explore. Instead of just exploring and figuring out that, oh my gosh, we're trapped in a temporal loop or something's not right, she has to just go and blah 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 blah, blah and say it. Stop talking. Just let the action speak for itself. Let them go and explore, and then have the tension build as they realize that something in this place ain't right.
But they can't do that. Because Chris Chibnall doesn't know how to do that. He needs his actors and his actresses to come on, look at the camera, and explain the fucking plot. Sure, apparently he's done another fucking video on this episode, by the way. So why has he done another video? Because he's probably on that video going on trying to explain what we'd actually watched tonight. Now, if he needs to do the video like he did the 15-minute video to explain Doctor Who Flux, I'll say it again. You ain't doing your job properly. You shouldn't be employed if you don't know what you're fucking doing. And this is what I'm going to say. Why the fuck did the BBC after Series 11 not get rid of this fucker? Because he clearly hadn't got a clue what he was doing. And he still hasn't got a clue what he's doing. And you know what? I haven't gotten into it yet, but I'm going to bring Lee in a minute because I want to ask him from a different standpoint. This queer baiting business, or Q baiting as I'm calling it now, is getting on my tits, right? And I want to actually talk to someone that knows that this is offensive, and Lee would be the right person to talk about this. So Lee, I want to ask you, the queer baiting in this episode is absolutely, I think, as a straight man, I'm just going to say it out straight, is an absolute disgrace, right? There's no basis for this relationship between the Doctor and Yaz whatsoever. Now, as a gay man yourself, do you find this respectful or disrespectful, in good taste or in bad taste? Could you explain to the audience and the people that are watching, as a gay man, why you think this is offensive and absolutely disgraceful?
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. This whole thing is shoehorned in because of pressure from Twitter, right? This is the only reason this exists,
right?
In so much as a character development, it's not earned. We should have learned really from the whole Rose thing that was it. You know, that you shouldn't go back to that again. The fact now it's two women, because obviously it has to be, because it's 2021, 22. This is the expected discourse, you know, and it's Hollyoaks basically. I mean, Chibnall will be much better writing Hollyoaks than Doctor Who. And what immediately springs to my mind is that Yaz is going to die. Because this is what happens, right? When you have this kind of situation, we've seen it so many times, especially in Chibnall's era, when a character announces that they're a jolly gay person, they die. There was that one exception with the two guys, the astronaut and the guy in the bar, whatever, and they were husbands, and that didn't happen. But that was because of the backlash of the previous queer baiting.
Yeah, which was the episode, which was another Dalek episode, by the way, Lee. It was the poor bloke that came on screen for 20 seconds, said his boyfriend was waiting at home, and then he got exterminated by a fucking Dalek.
Yeah, and don't forget the assistant to the Trump stand-in, who was a lesbian, and then she died as well soon afterwards. Yeah, I mean, so now I just expected to die.
Yeah.
You know, or be mortally wounded, and then the doctor will save her with a kiss, and then die, and she will die. One way or the other, one of them has to go, right? So that's standard stuff. But it's so contrived. It is pandering to the Twitter bullies online who've been shipping this for forever, and there was no hint of this in series 11. A tiny little hint in the last episode, or the last special or whatever, or the end of the timeless crap, whatever it was, like when she pushed her. No, it was after that, when she was in jail, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch that one, but yeah, it just seems so completely manufactured. Nothing's earned. There was no build up. All the so-called development between them and their relationship, with them arguing and everything, happened off screen prior to the opening of Flux. I mean, what's it for? What's going to happen, right? We know that she's leaving at the end of not the next one, but the one after, right? Yeah. So I know she's leaving on the centenary.
What's the point of the whole relationship when the doctor is going to move on anyway? I think is what you're trying to say. Like,
the whole point of it seems rather moot, because we know that Yaz isn't staying on. We know that Jodie's regenerating. So what's it for? Especially
if you said like it's going to be in literally the last episode, which is what we're all predicting now.
Yeah, and it does beg the question, what's it for? It's all done for virtue signal and spectacle, just so people can talk about it on Twitter. That's the only reason it exists. It's not there for any narrative purpose, because otherwise this would have been developed straight off the bat from series 11, right? It would have been shown, it would have been hinted at more and more heavily earlier on. It hasn't happened. It's only happened because they've taken note of what idiots on Twitter have been saying. It's like, well, we've got to keep these fuckwits happy and ship. I mean, like, haven't they learnt like how shipping works in fandoms? It's the death knell of fandoms. You look at the end of Star Wars with the kiss between Rey, you know, for the Reylos and all that, and because they didn't fuck. They didn't get the appraisal that they were expecting from the Reylos. The Reylos were upset because it wasn't full on.
Yeah.
And I suspect it will be the same thing here. I mean, they might be a bit more on the light side where they go, yay, they kissed, yay, woo, I'm happy now. And that's it. But I suspect there's going to be a bunch of people who are going to go, no, they should have been like on the bed and, you know, scissoring or whatever.
This is the thing, right? I think they will see. This is what pisses me off. These people should see what Chris Chibnall is doing. But I guarantee you, if they kiss, even though there's no substance to it, as we said, no proper proper development for this, I think they will be happy with just the kiss. It's
I'd like to ask these people, bearing in mind, these are the same people who think that only disabled people should play disabled people, only gay people should play gay people, blah, blah. So are you then okay with a straight white man writing two lesbians, one of which is a Muslim character? And I wonder also what Muslims watching this would be thinking as well, because we know that the Islamic religion forbids this kind of behavior, which is how they would see it. What that side of the audience will be thinking. You know, let's be inclusive and diverse. Yeah, I mean, is it okay for this straight white man to write this? You know, I mean, I'd just like to throw that question. I mean, personally, I don't give a shit, but like, you know, these people like to virtue signal and make all these rules that everyone else should live by, but they never seem to live by it themselves when it seems to benefit their narrative.
Yeah, and it's like in this episode, that moment when Dan told the doctor, that was the moment for the doctor to do two things. To either say, yes, I do have some feelings, but I'm scared, or say,
but she's socially awkward, Charlotte.
Yeah, no, but so two things needed to be said from the doctor to fully either say yes, there's something in this, or put it to bed in a sense. And that
they're teasing. This is debate.
No, that's the issue with that scene. It was there. Dan point blankly said she fancies you. And the doctor.
Well, then at the end, you see.
Doctor had to either say yes, I have feelings, but I'm scared of or say,
I'm not interested.
I'm not interested. Yeah, because then we know either way. But the fact that the doctor basically went, no, she hasn't. Like in the most, oh yeah, I'm not going to deal with this right now type of thing.
Well, I mean, what a time to bring it up. Quite honestly, I mean, this is how ad hoc it is and how crowbarred it is. It's like you're facing an existential threat from a bunch of Daleks and you want to start talking about your feelings.
Yeah, that's why I thought the tone was all over the place this episode.
It's ridiculous.
You had Daleks, you had death, you had all the so-called like base under siege type of things that bits of this episode were. And then you had Fifi's. And it's just like, no. You can't have whole scenes of characters sat there saying, oh, I quite like you, or I quite like you, I'm really sorry for that, oh, I'm really sorry for that.
Yaz doesn't cry about anyone dying. She didn't cry about Jericho being killed. She went, oh, Jericho. And that was it. And here she's crying because, like, her Fifi's facing a Dalek threat of death, like, multiple times, you know. And you don't know if you're going to walk out of this alive. And there you are.
See,
like, if you're facing death, then that's probably the time to fucking say, oh, by the way, I've always loved you. You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Now, listen to this. Chris Chibnall is trending, right? So I decided to go in and have a look. Sorry about this, because I have to address this, right? So this is the responses by some people. Chris Chibnall. Chris Chibnall, if I ever slandered you before, I apologize. Thank you for bringing them back. I think it's in relation to the Sea Devils. This person says, Chris Chibnall, I'm sorry for being mean to you. It's okay now.
What?
Day 92 until Chris Chibnall stops writing Doctor Who episodes. That's from someone that doesn't like him. Hold on. Chris Chibnall, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for this. It's Tasman Day account.
So they've not seen what it is.
So let's sacrifice the general audience again for a tiny bunch of people on Twitter.
Right, I'm not finished. Just wait for a minute, right?
Shut the fuck up. I'm angry.
Across me. Chris Chibnall, I will literally give you my firstborn child if you let the Tasman kiss. Chris Chibnall coming up with the title for the Easter special. Chibnall really rocked tonight for Eve of the Daleks. Such a great fun, really enjoyed. Chris Chibnall giving us pathetic amounts of representation to distract us from his shitty writing. Biggest plot twist in the Chris Chibnall era. This guy is actually returning. Who's the photograph of? The bloke in the very first episode that was in the Crane Driver, which was just shoehorned in for some fucking reason. I got that young fella that was on the Crane. Remember the one that was I love myself and all of this crap that he was doing.
I am special. I am important.
Yeah. So they brought him back for no reason whatsoever. It's just a scene of him with his mobile phone looking at the fireworks display. Is that for me? No, it's not for you. The doctor blew something up, you fucking idiot.
There's a guy wrote up, he says, Chris Chibnall giving us pathetic amounts of representation.
So basically what the fans are saying here is that they're willing to forgive him for everything else that he's done if Yaz and the Doctor kisses. This is the state the fandom is in. That's all they care about. This is all I've said. They don't give a shit about Doctor Who. All they care about is the two fuckers in the TARDIS scissoring. Right? Yep. Now, Lee, whatever you wanted to say, now you're free to do so.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's abysmal. It's become... this fandom is becoming invaded by a bunch of basically emotionally insecure, intellectually lightweight people who want to see soap operas, not Doctor Who. They want a soap opera.
Yeah. Can I just
Doctor Who is not a soap opera.
Noel, have you ever considered people are allowed to like stuff you don't? Yeah, I do. But I'd also say the same to people that do like it.
I'm going to ask a question. Did anyone find that the thing that Dan done with his eyes throughout this a bit kind of creepy?
Well, he kept looking over going, oh, look at those two. They're so in love with each other. Oh, yeah. Aye.
Sorry, but I just want to answer this comment. Stop putting across me, guys. Okay? No, have you ever considered people are allowed to like stuff? Well, I'd say the same to the people out there that do like it, that come after me and attack me for not.
Yeah, I thought.
Oh, the irony.
Obvious.
So if you have a problem,
and I mean, the way that he was going on about it as well, and I thought it was creepy.
So that's where I stand. These people don't like me coming on here and saying what I have to say and then criticise me and try to take my channel down like they did tonight with their little games.
When these people say that, like, oh, why can't people like it? Well, I simply say, well, the minute I came out with any criticism in Series 11 after Episode 5, I was told to die of cancer. And it hasn't stopped since then. You know, people have been trying to harass. 3,000 people formed a group online on Twitter to try and shut people down. I think that needs to be addressed. If you're going to criticize people for criticizing people for enjoying it, then too bad.
Sorry, I just have to, because they did respond back. They did say, no, I don't have a problem. I was genuinely asking. And all I'm just going to say to you is that, like, that's fair enough. I do know that some people do like this era. I've said it, right? But what I'm pointing out is that it's clear to see that the reasons why some fans like this is just because they want to see Dan, Yaz, and the Doctor kiss. Now, why can't I come on here and say that I dislike it without being attacked? I'm not attacking these people. I'm just pointing out that these fans are so fickle that everything that he's done for the last 3 series, they're willing to forgive if Yaz and the Doctor kiss. And I'm sorry, that's not a fan, okay? Because you should be fucking annoyed about what we got the last 3 series. And all of this Hugh baiting that he's been doing all the way through is an absolute disgrace. So I'm just calling it out as I see it. I didn't mean to have a go at you there or anything like that. Just, you know, we see comments like that all the time, and I'm kind of like, well, look, I come on here, I give my opinions, and I'm attacked for them. You know, all I'm just saying is I'm pointing out that fans are so fickle that they're willing to forgive them if those two kiss on screen. And I think that's wrong. You shouldn't forgive a show.
That's no principle. That's lack of principle. That's lack of integrity. It's a lack of authenticity. the verisimilitude of the show hangs in the balance, and all you care about is whether or not the Doctor and Yaz snog, and you're willing to forgive all these excremental storylines.
The destruction of the Time Lord, so you're willing to forgive all of that, and not you, Chica, but the people that I'm talking about. So they're willing to forgive all of that just so they can see their precious two characters get it on in the TARDIS. And I think that's wrong, mate. I think that's wrong.
What's worse is that by doing so, he's willing to sacrifice any opportunity for decent, well-written, well-rounded character development on the altar of politics. Like, the first thing that Yaz said, the first line that came out of her mouth after they landed at the storage place and they realized that something wasn't right was, does this mean that we're not going to have that moment on the beach where you tell me about what's been going on with you? And she's just like, we'll get to it. I was like, seriously? You become that shallow that you got Daleks that are trying to kill you, and all you care about is finding out what happened to her with the Flux? And if you guys got a relationship going on right now, who the hell are you?
Yeah, and can people in the chat, like Chica's entitled to her opinion and to question and
exactly.
freely do so.
Looking at the chat there, will you just leave it out, right? At the end of the day, just made a comment. I picked it up the wrong way. I read their second message. We picked it up the wrong way. So just leave it at that, okay? It doesn't matter. Everybody has different opinions, whether you agree with them or not. That's what we're about on this channel, right? So just leave it out, please, everybody in the chat, or I'll have to.
So apologies to Chica. She's
yeah, exactly.
Felt pressured. But I just think that it's very important to reiterate that this isn't homophobia to criticize this, and this is what the very sort of criticism that would be leveled. And speaking as a gay person myself, this kind of disingenuous kind of argument is not valid. It's not valid because even if I don't want, let's say, for the Doctor to be suddenly a gay person, because that's really not how I see the character. I've always seen the Doctor as very aloof to the foibles of human relations, that they are asexual. I can understand the 10th Doctor forming a bond with Rose in the way that he did at that time after coming out of the Time War, and forming that bond, but then realizing that it could never work, and that he had to walk away from that, and he had to walk alone, and that was his arc. That should be it, right? It shouldn't be turned into a soap opera, and that's what this is becoming. It's very trendy to queer everything. We've all heard about queering everything and heteronormativity this and queering that. And no, enough is enough, right? This whole thing is divisive. It's very niche. It doesn't help LGBT people in any particular way. All it does is create resentment. You have to bear in mind that not everyone agrees with it, whether you like it or not. You can call it bigotry, you can call it whatever. There's a bunch of religious people who disagree with it, including Muslims, Jews, Christians, and also people who are homosexual who don't necessarily want to see representation done in this way because it feels exploitative, like blaxploitation in the 1970s. So you've got like a mixed bag there, and it is divisive, and it is pushing a narrative. I think a lot of parents won't necessarily think that it's necessarily appropriate for young kids watching Doctor Who to have this kind of issue brought up in basically a show that is a family show that has a lot of young children who, I mean, fair enough, it raises questions and all sorts of things, and It shouldn't be looked upon as anything other than normal, which it is. But at the same time, to fetishize it in this way in a show that's a family show is I think inappropriate.
That's why RTD is the master, Lee, because RTD introduced characters like that.
He did it perfectly well. Yeah.
Character development and a backstory.
I mean, if you look at Captain Jack was a character that was brought in that dealt with it very tactfully and very tongue in cheek, and it was quite amusing and so on and so, like in the tradition of presenting sort of LGBT characters on TV. It was done well and done tastefully. This just feels very not only tacked on but very sort of contrived. And it smacks of appealing to the very worst elements of this fandom, which have been engaged in harassment for the last few years, and the Thasmin shippers. You don't pander to that's fan fiction, right? That's fan fiction by people who are sexually repressed, who enjoy writing fanfic or making pornographic fan pictures and drawings, and it's a very niche thing online. But again, I would say, Chibnall, that people who live on Twitter who do this kind of thing are a tiny fraction of your audience. You're sacrificing the larger audience for a bunch of fanatics on Twitter who just enjoy pornographic images of lesbian kissing and this kind of thing. And that's fine. Do that 24 hours a day, all you like, but don't bring it into the show.
Here's the thing, Lee, though.
It's fetishizing.
The problem that we, as you clearly said, it hasn't been done with any respect, and he's pandering to these fans, the shippers and the J-bots, as we call them, right? The worst part of the fandom. But are we actually really surprised? Because he is leaving now, you know, and these have been the ones that have, as you said, set up hate groups and gone after long-term fans and fans out there that have jumped on the show since 2005. Anybody that has had a problem with this era. Are we really surprised that he's actually pandering to these people in his last few specials?
It's scorched earth to me. That's what it looks like. It looks like scorched earth. It looks like he's just doing it. It's like the last hurrah, who gives a shit.
That's what it is, yeah, exactly.
Because he knows he's never ever going to win the hearts and minds of the mass audience who've soundly rejected him and loathe his guts. So of course he's going to pander to and reward his stands and his supporters.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
That's what he's got left. That's all he's got left. So he's going to appeal to them because fuck everyone else, basically. You know, he's not bothered to listen to criticism. He's gone, they don't like it, fuck them. I'm going to pander to my crew. And that's all in the name of inclusion and diversity by excluding every fucking one else.
He has hit the iceberg, and instead of trying to make repairs, he's going down with the ship. That's the way it is.
Yep, he is. Right, folks, I need to go. I'll get this in now quickly.
Right, what would you give it?
Oh, right, okay. Like I said, I like the fact that Jodie got called out for once. Some of the shots were quite, like, the effects were nice. I do agree with Aileen B. She was trying, but the writing was terrible. I'll give this a 4. And I'm probably being very generous with a 4.
Yeah, I think you are, but you're entitled to
let me just, I'm doing a point to each thing I like. So Jodie being called out, the effects. No, actually, no, I'll say 3. Because like I said, I do agree Aileen was trying her best. But so I'll give it a 3.
What do you think of the overnight ratings for tomorrow?
See, this hasn't got a certain captain in it, so I think it's going to suffer ratings.
Yeah,
I think
the Masked Singer was on tonight as well at the same time, so I suspect that a lot of people will switch over and watch the Masked Singer because it's very popular. We watched it last year, so we'll have to watch it and catch up now. But the Masked Singer, I think, will take away some of it. I think people will tune in for the first few minutes, realise that it's rubbish, and switch over to the Masked Singer.
Yeah,
I think
so
this one is
maybe,
going to suffer.
yeah, I think maybe just below 5 million overnight.
Oh, I think that's still being a bit generous, but yeah. 5
Well,
million.
specials tend to really get a bump even if they're not that good, is my logic.
Yeah,
Yeah, but this is very, very close to the last season, so I don't know. I think that's going to take a hit because it's not been that long since the last episode. So
yeah, and the last episode left a sour taste in a lot of fans' mouths. But look, Charlotte does make a point. It is coming to the end, but also she is right. Specials, especially New Year's, do seem to do a lot better than the series as a whole. But we will see. But Queen
Is
Charlotte, we'll
anyone
let you
experiencing
go.
any problems with a live stream?
Yeah. No. What? Say that again. What?
No, we're not getting any lag on our end, Super Doctor.
So
Right, so
You
we
see,
let
I'm
Charlotte-
getting old talking over you.
No, I wasn't
that's
talking
good.
over.
No, you've got a problem there, John.
Yeah.
You might need
Maybe
to refresh
I'll
me.
come in and come out.
Yeah, I'm going to let Charlotte go because she wants to go. But Charlotte, before you do go, you're making any appearances. I'm going to do it again, bring it back again. Fuck it. If you want to give a channel shout out there, if you're going to be appearing on any other or someone's channel, please let us know.
Well, me and Daniel, near the end of Jan, we're back with our streams, and you'll usually see me on the Facebook. There we go.
No. Fantastic. Right, Charlotte, you look after yourself, love, and have a happy new year. And I hope 2022 is better than 2021 for you. And we will see you on this channel as well. So have a good one.
Happy New Year, everybody, and
Happy New
see you
Year.
soon.
Happy New Year.
Here.
either.
Actually, I do hear a bit when Charlotte was going off there. I did hear a bit of clicking. Now, remember, YouTube has been playing up, so maybe it's YouTube. But, John, we have you back. But just hold on. I just want to read out some of the other scores that we got there, and then I'll get you guys. If there's any more you want to add about the
Well, I haven't actually given my review because, I've actually just all I talked about is one aspect.
Actually, you haven't. You actually, well, yeah, because I did actually ask you a question. You're right. And I wanted, but the reason why I asked you, and I want to make it clear, is because as a gay man yourself, this is supposed to be pandering to you, basically, right? This episode, right? And that's why, well, the whole of this fucking so-called imaginary relationship. And if anybody is best equipped to fucking actually talk about it, it's yourself, mate. So that's why I wanted to ask you that. But go on, you're right. Tell us what else you didn't like about this story. And rant away, mate. Rant away.
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, the beigeness of it was so fucking beige. It's like all that oversaturation of the flux just disappeared and we're back to being beige again. The music was boring. The pacing was a lot of people say that the pacing was good. I disagree. I think it was very trotted out. It's like I'm rolling my eyes. It's like, oh, they're dead again. And again, the time loop thing, as was mentioned earlier by Wolf and Storm, was not like it has been done in the past.
No.
And it's like they caught onto that way too quick. Aisling B was adequate. I expected more from her, but I suppose given the crap she was given to read,
That's what I mean.
really didn't play to her strength. It didn't play to her strength. I think she would have been better if she probably had more of a free hand to rewrite some of her lines her own way. Might have been better. But the chemistry between her and the other guy was really not there. It just didn't feel like there was a romance.
Like a real relationship, did it, Lee? It felt contrived. It felt forced as well. And like the way she was speaking to him, and then you see at the end they're in a relationship. It didn't make sense to me. She literally thought he was a creep and a weirdo.
Yeah, I mean, it just all seemed really contrived because it had to happen rather than anything else. Then when the doctor went off to rescue him, right? Remember, she gets there and he managed to rescue himself because obviously you can't have a white savior. And the way that happened was just cringe, like, oh, the two Daleks on either side of the victim there, and they shoot each other. Oh, we haven't seen that before. And then there was one Dalek, then there were two. Oh, look, there's two Daleks. There's two, and then there was three suddenly. Then the time was shortening. We didn't get much of a sense of that. And as Wolf and Son pointed out, it was one of the things that I thought of as well. It's like, oh, next time he dies, that he's not coming back. And then he was saved, but then time shortened again, I assume, and then that he got killed again anyway. So that was completely, again, the stakes were completely removed. And then, oh, look, conveniently, there's a bunch of fireworks and explosive stuff that is there, and we get the Daleks to shoot it because of a phone call. And then the whole building collapses because of an explosion of fireworks and whatever, the propane or whatever. Oh, God. And then the Daleks, if the Daleks are subject to the same rules of the time loop and they keep being reset to the same place again and again, how comes the Daleks are replaced wherever they need to be? They're placed wherever they need to be. And where did they where did they come from? And it's quite interesting as well. So also Chibnall admitted in this story that she committed genocide, or it was party to genocide.
Mm-hmm.
And rightly, she was held to account for that. And so he's acknowledged that this doctor committed or aided in genocide.
Yeah.
So that actually doubles into and she smirks that off later on. Again, she doesn't really think about it. It's the consequences. This was the consequence. A completely by chance situation where the TARDIS is trying to reset itself because she's worked out how to do that somehow, and which she could do during the flux. And then somehow that they are attracted. Where did they come from to be attracted to that? How did they find themselves within the same time loop? How does killing her and them off over and over again until the time loop closes, will that kill them as well? I don't know. Yeah, and then you've got saying, Dan, I can't remember, saying, oh yeah, she saved the universe last week. Did she? That wasn't explicitly clear at all, right? No one knows. There was no absolute definitive shown or spoken, written line or anything to say, oh well, the universe is saved now. How do we know that? That wasn't shown in any way. Clearly that the universe was back to normal. And again, the Daleks appear. No one knows who the Daleks are. They were there fucking last year. And they don't know what the Daleks are again. How does that work? It doesn't make sense. You've got this kind of weird, even the character that wasn't on the screen at all, who placed all that stuff in the warehouse, was a dick, obviously. The guy is a creep, obviously, and Dan was inferior, obviously. So again, it's like every opportunity made to denigrate the male characters, even the one who wasn't even on the fucking screen. And yeah, it was just absolutely boring, abysmal. Yeah, I mean, I was being a little bit facetious when I was like, oh, at least we get to see her being killed over and over again. But again, after the first 5 or 6 times, it's like, yeah, all right. And then she just does the exposition dump as usual, waves the magic Sonic around. And these Daleks got these guns that are firing multiple rounds, yet miss. That's appalling. It's so lazy. So lazy. And everything is just unearned. There's no stakes. It was a countdown episode again because Chibnall is an idiot.
Countdown.
And it's just like I don't know. It's just nothing going on. This is the thing. He makes episodes an hour long with fuck all happening.
That's what in a time loop because he didn't know what he could fill the time, so he had to come up with something to make it last. You know what I mean? So that's why we got this time loop, and why nothing really fucking happened during the time loop. You know, so because as Charlotte said, you know, you expected every time, Lee, that the time loop was happening. It's like an onion. You know, when you peel it away a layer, there's another layer, more substance. You get me? But he didn't do that. But go ahead anyway. Sorry, mate. Sorry. I'm just fucking. The more we talk about this and analyze this episode, I'm actually it's still not the worst thing that he's written. But when you look at it, it just has so many problems, mate. It's just And by the way, the Tasman stands have found me, and they're not happy. Apparently, I'm going to be ratioed. There will be no ratio, you little fucking morons. Because I'm going to tell you something now. Here's me rant now. I'm going to tell you something fucking now. If you think what you seen tonight, right, was good enough to justify a relationship between the Doctor and Yaz, yous are fucking out, yous are fucking heads. And yous are an absolute disgrace in this fandom if yous are going to ignore everything that this man has done and forgive him if he gets those two to kiss. You ain't fans of this show. Get the fuck out of this fandom. You ain't welcome anymore. I'm telling you out straight. You ain't welcome anymore. Try ratio me and come after me. Go ahead. I don't give a shit. You Tasman stands are the worst fucking thing, just like the J-Bots that ever happened in this fandom. No place in this fandom, and that rubbish that Chris Chibnall is doing has no place in Doctor Who because he's not doing it respectfully. How dare he do this? How dare he do it? RTD did it properly with Captain Jack, Vestra, and Jenny. That's how you fucking develop characters, and that's how you introduce LGBTQ plus characters into the show. Not the way Chris Chibnall
Don't use Q.
Don't play with that. Don't fuck yourself. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, and don't fucking come back after she's gone. Go ahead.
Okay.
Come after me,
right. Look, I mean, I understand your frustration. Look, these people are aggressive. They're intolerant. They demand that you know, if you're not on board with the message, you're a homophobia. It's absolute nonsense. It's unearned. It's simply unearned. The character development was not there. It shouldn't even be there in the first place because the Doctor is supposed to be an alien, asexual alien who doesn't have these kind of relationships. Like, we can forgive it for Rose because of the situation and because, again, I'll reiterate, you know, he was suffering PTSD. Then he realized that he's practically immortal and she will die in front of him slowly, and it will never work. And that's the heartbreak of the Doctor. The Doctor can't form these long-standing bonds, and that's always been the case throughout his entire run with all his companions. You know, as they leave, he knows he can't keep going back to them all the time. He does occasionally, but like, you know, these people are in a fixed time, so he can't keep going back because it's too painful. Yeah. So he has to have that distance, and this just isn't earned. It's so absolutely crowbarred in, and it's contrived, and it is offensive. And if we don't see them actually getting it on, then I'm sorry, that's really
that has to happen. That has to happen now, in my opinion. I don't care now at this stage if they do, but it has to happen now because you're after doing this now, Chibs. So if you
it's fetishizing, it's
mean something. Well, then you have failed. You fucking hack of a fucking writer. You are. It's
not doing it. It's not doing it for the right reasons. It's doing it to get people talking on Twitter. It's there as a bit of controversy to go, hey, stick it to the heteronormatives, and look at how stunning and brave and inclusive and diverse I am, and it's all done for spectacle, right? It's all done to fetishize a gay kiss. That's what it's about. It's not about normalizing anything. It's not about stunning and brave things. It's not about character development. It's none of these things. It's all there to create conversation and to be triumphalist about it. And it's done for spectacle. It's not done for the right reasons. If it was done for the right reasons, if it was interesting to the story, if it actually made any difference, bearing in mind, in 2 episodes' time, they'll both be gone. So this is for nothing. How does this develop Yaz's character in any way? It doesn't. It's contrived. Out of the blue, now she's a lesbian. A Muslim lesbian. And bearing in mind, a lot of Muslims are not going to be happy about that either. Take it up with them, may I say.
In Arachnids in the UK, if I'm correct in saying, wasn't it kind of suggested that Yaz was bisexual and not lesbian?
No, I think it was like, was it the parents or the sister or something said, are you two dating now or something?
Chib's way of doing it because he doesn't actually do it properly. But that was Chib's
Which
way
was
of
a
doing
throwaway line, and then because the shippers latched onto that, Chibnall obviously sat up and took notice. Thought, I'll do that then.
So, somebody has just tweeted, right? And I am fuming. I am raging with anger now at this.
Right.
This person has written, Chris Chibnall has written a lead character who's part of the LGBT plus community better than any previous showrunner. And yes, I'm including Bill too.
Ridiculous.
Excuse me?
Bill's character was a lesbian from the word go, right?
Yes.
She, and whatever you say about Bill, constantly reminding everyone like pointlessly that she's a lesbian. She was a great character. And to me, I think it wasn't as ham-fisted as this is at all. Her relationship with the girl with the star thing in her eye was earned because she was there from the beginning. Then they were separated, and then she found her again. I mean, a lot of people might think that's a bit of a Deus Ex, but it still kind of worked. Moffat at least had some consideration for the development of that character and that relationship that was there from the beginning.
But Jack is one of the best LGBTQ characters in the history of Doctor Who.
Yes.
Perfectly written.
Madame Vastra,
Jenny. But I mean, Jack was... You never looked at Jack and focused... But you never looked at his character and focused solely on this sexual stuff. Yeah, he was funny, he was out there, but that was an affectation of the time period in which he came from. That they didn't have.
And bearing in mind as well, they're praising Chibnall, who wrote two gay characters, one lesbian and one a gay man, who just announced that they were gay and then were killed instantly afterwards. And now he's the best writer of LGBTQ plus people. Fuck off.
The thing is, Jack's characterization was not all about his sexuality. Yeah, it was played off as funny that he was always flirty with anything that had legs and could breathe. But it was more of an affectation of the time period that he came from, and that they didn't have all those hang-ups about labels and sexuality. That in that 51st century time frame, that's just how they were. So he didn't have all the hang-ups. That's why he was kind of like that. So his character was not boiled down to just who he was sleeping with this week or that. Not only that, but the relationships that he was in meant a great deal to him. Every single one of them. Gwen, Yanto, the woman who I'm assuming was the mother of his daughter, they all meant a great deal to him. And he felt deeply whenever each one of them died or was lost to him. So to cheapen that by whittling down the Doctor and Yaz to nothing but
gay caricatures.
Yeah, basically, is a slap in the face to all those.
It's drag. It's lesbian drag. It's not earned. It's just grafted on top.
Yeah.
And it's fake. It's fake as fuck, and it's done as a spectacle.
Other thing, when it comes to relationships in this show, y'all know me. Y'all know how much of a Doctor and Rose person I am. But that relationship was earned after with everything that he had been through in the Time War and how alone that he was and how desperate he was for some sort of connection. And she was that. She saved his soul. There was no way that he could not have fallen in love with her. I mean, it wasn't just the 10th Doctor either. People forget that it was the 9th first. When he first met her, it was like Russell said it, Christopher said it, everyone involved said it, except maybe Phil.
And bearing in mind, there's 1,000 or 2,000 years age gap between them. Come on, Stop.
But they completed pieces of each other that they desperately needed. And I know for a fact that when she was gone, it very nearly destroyed him. So I cannot conceive.
And don't forget the Doctor looks at human beings as a species separate. All right, they're separated from
but
Time
with
Lords.
Rose, it was different. Rose, he got so caught up in that fantasy, and his love for her was so intense that he forgot who he was. He forgot how short her lifespan was, and he bought into that fantasy. When she promised herself to him in that little short scene where he took her to see those flying stingray things, and she promised for forever, he believed it. He believed in the fantasy that they would be together forever. He forgot who he was, and he forgot how short her lifespan was.
And that's the tragedy of that character arc. That was an arc. This is not an arc at all. This is just grafted on.
So doing this with her and Yaz makes that cheap. It cheapens it in such a horrible way because they don't have that kind of chemistry. They didn't build it up. They didn't develop it. There is nothing
all
there.
off camera.
I can't conceive that the Doctor, having been through what she went through with Rose, having been through what she went through with River, even though I don't like her story still, I acknowledge it. That she would allow herself to go through that again.
There's another tweet here. You know, I'm going to put on my fancy voice for this one. Eve of the Daleks was simply fantastic. Chris Chibnall keeps pulling it out of the park with his Dalek stories. They just get better and better. Jam-packed with fantastic one-liners and memorable moments, it might have to go down as one of the best Dalek stories of all time.
Are these people paid? They must be paid, right? There's no fucking way.
The tap water over there in your country, Lee. For fuck's sake.
What the fuck?
I don't know what the fuck. There is no way, and I'm sorry, right? This is not the worst episode ever, right? But if I was to judge this on every single Dalek story that I have watched, this is fucking pretty near the bottom. There is no way that this ever would compare to being better than Genesis of the Daleks. It's not even better than Dalek, written by RTD, for fuck's sake. It's not even better than William Hartnell's first Dalek story. So shut up, you absolute clowns. And they're starting to tell me on Twitter, and they're trying to, they think that they're going to actually get the better of me. Listen, you little twats, right? Just going to tell you. He's not going to bull me offline. Get this tree is our thick skulls. The Doctor is not lesbian, no matter what Chris Chibnall tries to do. There is no justification for this relationship between Yaz and the Doctor. Why? Because there is no proper backstory, no character development, and a one-off line here and there is not good enough if you're going to do something this fucking big. So get a tree is our thick skulls. The Doctor ain't not a lesbian. Yaz may be lesbian or boy, who gives a flying fuck? But the Doctor is not lesbian.
This is all playing into the gender identity politics. I'll tell you why. Because the Doctor has changed gender. Now the Doctor's a lesbian. So this plays into the whole notion that, you know, you can change your sex, you can become a lesbian, you can be a lesbian if you're a man or a woman. And it's this morass of identity politics, this whole woke nonsense, which is undermining LGBT people everywhere who's awake to it anyway. And it's kind of just such a contrite slap in the face. It's not representative whatsoever. It's so undermining the way that this has happened. You don't just become a lesbian. You don't just change your sex and then you're a lesbian suddenly or what. This is wholeheartedly playing into the whole Twitter sphere of complete ideological bollocks, and you're forcing this down people's throats to the general audience, who simply will not be on board with this. And it doesn't help us in any way. If in fact creates problems, it creates issues because people see this as a sort of facetious move of a particular ideological bent. I'm sorry, sex and sexuality and gender and all this kind of thing should have absolutely nothing to do with politics, but they politicized gender and sex to such a fucking degree that you can't separate it. And I'm sorry, that is, you're not born gay and a Marxist. You're not born trans and a postmodern Marxist. You're just not. But they're trying to marry this two as if they go hand in hand. No, this is not acceptable to a large number of people, including those within LGBT, who just look at this and roll their eyes and go, "Not in my name, mate." No, this is not a good representation. This is not done right, and it shouldn't be done because it's the Doctor. It's Doctor Who. It's not a soap opera. It's not fucking Hollyoaks. And that's what this has become. This whole thing has been hijacked by ideologues and soap opera watchers who are mediocre-minded at best, right? These people will accept any old tripe as entertainment because they're clearly not critically engaged. Everything's about seeing themselves in a fucking mirror. They don't care about Doctor Who. They care about the message. That's what they care about. And they're using Doctor Who in order to push narratives which are triumphalist in nature, facetious, and dogmatic. And it's there designed to create this kind of conversation and combat on Twitter. But the general audience are going to watch this and, generally are going to go, I'm done. I'm out. And it's making RTD's job even harder. And it's got fuck all to do with homophobia. If anything, the biggest cause of homophobia currently is the actions of people within LGBT and its so-called allies who are pushing this so hard that it's making people get very irritated by it because you can't fucking escape it. It's constant. And this is not how you normalize relations this way. You don't co-opt TV shows to keep pushing this and pushing this and pushing this because you're not normalizing it, you're fetishizing it. You're shoving it down people's throats and you're doing it in a combative way. And it's done in a cheap way. There's no level of writing or development to these characters. It's just, they're gay now. And it's not earned. And it just makes it feel awkward and shoehorned in. And it seems very just done to be performative. And look at me, I've done this, and aren't I brave? Aren't I amazing? And, aren't I singing to the right choir? And it's a few people on Twitter who've just absolutely been the loudest, most voracious, antagonistic bunch of people online who bully and harass everyone to accept this dogmatic thing. Otherwise, you're a bigot, you're an evil person, you're this, you're that. And that is not how you get people to accept you, by being aggressive like this. And this is pandering to that to create this kind of ideological battlefield again. It's just like, can you just stop? I am not here to be used as a weapon in your crusade. And that's how I feel. And why should my experience or my feelings be dismissed? Right? Why do you care about my voice, my gay voice? Why don't you care about how I don't want this to represent me? I suppose because I'm just a cis gay man now, and that's the one part of the LGBT that is being denigrated the most, because and lesbians as well, funnily enough, because we're not on board the message, because we see through how homophobic and lesbian phobic the LGBTQ plus mantra is. It really is. It denigrates women. It calls cis gay men F words, ending with a T. And it's it really is not this monolith. They presented this united front. It really isn't. And if anything, Stonewall proves that. So I'll just say that I will be interested to see what happens with the next episode, which I believe is going to be focused on not only the Sea Devils but also the well-known Chinese pirate, Qing Shi, which is a historical, an actual female pirate from the 1800s. I no doubt it's going to be a big feminist story, but she's an interesting character. I'll be interested to see what they do with her. If Chibnall can in any way redeem himself, I doubt it. Again, I expect it's going to be exploitative, as everything he does is. The Sea Devils, they did look good. The googly eye thing moving around, we'll see. I mean, they look good, but
I'm done giving this man the benefit of the doubt, Lee.
Yeah.
Right? I'm done, right? He's had too many chances now, right? Is he going to do the Sea Devils justice? No. He's gone around them. Right? This is what he does. I am not giving this man the benefit of the doubt anymore, right? Series 14, I went in with a lot of optimism, and in some ways he did do some good things and he did some bad things. But if you look at it overall, by the end, he stuck two fingers up at the pans yet again. I'm sick of giving this man the benefit of the doubt, and I won't be giving him the benefit of the doubt for the next episode, because more than likely it's going to be the same old trope that we get. Wait and you see, and the Sea Devils somehow are going to be secondary in this fucking story, right? It's all
okay. PD Rich raises a good point. Actually, this feeds into why what we're saying isn't homophobic or isn't far off the mark. When PD Rich says, do you think Al Jazeera are on board with the message? The head of Stonewall, right, the largest LGBTQ plus charity in Britain, went on Al Jazeera TV, right, Qatar-run television, to complain about how terrible Britain was with transphobia. Al Jazeera is the propaganda wing of the Qatari government, which outlaws homosexuality and indeed persecutes people to death. And there she is complaining about Britain being this terrible bigoted country on the fucking propaganda media wing of a government that persecutes homosexuals with the death penalty. So this is the definition of woke, right? That's how fucking disconnected these people are, right? They don't understand how absolutely wonderfully tolerant this country is. And then you go on to somewhere like that to complain about it when you're literally talking to a bunch of people who are silencing the disgusting treatment of homosexuals who are being prosecuted and put to death for being gay. It's disgusting, and frankly, I'm sick to fuck of these radical people within this community, so-called community, espousing all this nonsense about how terrible it is in the UK and such and forth, and how bad it is and transphobic and homophobic, when the head of Stonewall, Nancy, whatever her fucking face is, called trans exclusionary lesbians as akin to racists. Calling lesbians racist because they don't want to sleep with someone with a penis. This is not okay, right? And this is the kind of thing that is swept aside and ignored by people like Chibnall, who just want to fetishize lesbians for popularity points with a tiny minority on Twitter, because otherwise they beat him up or something because they're that demented. I mean, that's where we're at. And it's not a monolith. We are not a monolith. And not everyone is on board with this, because it doesn't add up. When you start looking at it at any depth, right, you start seeing all the flaws, all the homophobia within the LGBTQ plus, which is Q is what straight people who like wearing their wife's knickers. So basically heterosexuals. It's disgusting. So sod off, not interested, and it's just pandering, and it is wallpaper basically.
Yeah, let's read
rainbow wallpaper.
It's a £5 super chat. chat. Just a reminder, 11 Snog, Rory, Amy, and River. They were a really close family. Yeah, but did 11 Snog Rory anyway sexually or had feelings for him? No. When 11 didn't actually snog Amy either. Amy actually assaulted the doctor on our bed and actually kissed him without consent. And as for River, he didn't really kiss River. She kissed the Tessellect, if I remember. Did they actually really kiss? They probably did. But again, you could see how uncomfortable the doctor was. The doctor doesn't do relationships. The doctor had a family on Gallifrey that died. And as I said, from the very beginning, even when the show came back in 2005, I never liked when RTD did the whole Rose fancies the doctor thing. It was more prevalent then, obviously, in Series 2 with David Tennant, because obviously he had the long hair and he looked a lot better like Casanova and all of that shit, right? But again, I will say it again, there should be no hanky-panky in the TARDIS with the doctor and someone else. If he wants to have companions in the TARDIS that want to do all of that stuff like they did with Amy and Rory, that's fine, that's fair enough with me. But at the end of the day, I've said it from day one, and I'll say it again, the doctor should not be romantically involved with any companions, because it makes the doctor vulnerable, and it's against the doctor's character as well, right? I think School Reunion is the episode where actually explains why a relationship with the doctor doesn't actually work. And I think a few of these fans, or stans, if they call them, have forgotten that. And I think they need to be reminded again. The doctor is not comfortable being in a relationship with anybody. That's why he basically said, go with the meta-crisis, doctor, because I'm not fucking interested. Because I won't get down. Because I will probably die, or you will probably fucking die. You know, you will grow old and wither away and die. That's what he says to her. You grow old, wither away, and die. That's why he wouldn't bring up about Sarah fucking Jane. It was too fucking painful. So don't be giving me this bollocks that all of a sudden the doctor is going to be okay being in a fucking romantic relationship. Right? Fuck off. Doesn't make sense. These are all
I found another crazy tweet, if you want to hear this. So, why was that the greatest Doctor Who episode of the entire Chris Chibnall era? In all my years of watching Doctor Who, I have never been scared of Daleks until tonight. Bravo, Chibnall. Your writing is 10 out of 10.
You morons. Sorry, but you are morons.
Did everyone else love the really pointless cameo at the end from that random guy from episode 1 in season 11?
Yes, that's who I was talking about. Why did he pop up? By the way, there is something that we did miss. When the explosion,
I didn't even notice that.
When the explosion in the building happened, right, and the fireworks went, and we seen the shot of the young fella that just appeared, was in the woman who fell to earth, and he was just shoehorned in this episode for no fucking particular reason. In the rubble, there was actually a black
the TARDIS just standing there.
Yeah, but beside it, there was a black cased Dalek. All of these were bronze Daleks. I think Davros was in the fucking rubble, and I think that's what will continue. Go back and watch that scene again. It was definitely fucking black.
No thanks.
It was definitely like Davros in the chair. So I think Davros was actually in that explosion because it was a black coloured skinned Dalek, and all the Daleks that we had in this episode were bronze. And I noticed that in that. Go back and watch that very last scene. You'll see it. In the rubble, there's a black fucking case in Dalek with the bubbles, right? That's fucking probably Davros there. Probably survived the explosion and probably gonna turn up somewhere. Wouldn't be fucking surprised, man. Seriously, go back and watch it. Because if you missed the scene with the Young Fleet League, go back and watch that scene again, and the whole scene, and you'll see the black case Dalek. There was definitely it's definitely either Davros or it was another Dalek that we didn't see in the fucking episode. And I'll probably, Chris Chibnall probably won't explain it anyway. Davros will just probably fucking appear. If it is indeed Davros. But there was a black case Dalek there, I'm telling you. So it was either a mistake or there's something in that rubble that obviously fans haven't picked up on. And I saw it. So go back and watch that scene again. You'll clearly see that it looks like Davros' wheel here. It does. So, according to someone, the Salad Man may have been in a flashback busting in the army of ghosts or doomsday, don't really give a shit. Don't care.
Well,
Don't.
how could it have been him? Like, this was set in 2021, 2022, right? The New Year's. So how is he still alive? Isn't that the guy who died?
Yeah.
That's
the guy.
Sure, it's the same person.
Yeah, Tim Shaw took him out. Do you remember? Salad guy. He threw salad at him and then he got killed.
Okay.
So how is he
Whatever.
back in Army of Ghosts or Doomsday? Exactly. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't. But look, a burned out and black Dalek casing. Yeah, that's what it looked like. But I don't think it was burned out because it looked shiny black to me. Go back and have a look at that scene again. I'm telling you now, there's something wrong with that.
I'm having a look now, see if I can spot it.
Well, you're a braver man than I am.
I can tell you this much. The theft in this episode was egregious. I know in the past it can have been debated whether or not Chibnall was blatantly stealing things there, but this was blatant. In the second go around, when Aisley B's character comes face to face with the Dalek in the lobby, she looks at it and goes, "I'm so tired." When I heard that line, I went, "I'm sorry, what?" I just had this feeling like, oh no, Donna Noble would be spinning in her grave right now. That's not just implied. That's an obvious theft of dialogue from a much better actress, a much better episode, and a much better story.
Are we surprised at this point? No, not really.
When Donna said it, she had seen unimaginable suffering in that alternate world when the Doctor had died. And, all the things that the Doctor could have prevented weren't prevented. And she lost her home and she was living in that tiny little flat with a whole bunch of people. And, the whole place was like a mess. And her life had crumbled. So the look on her face and how she said it, you could see how mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausted she had become from everything she'd been through. In this episode, this was only the second go around. Only the second.
God, I'm so glad I'm not on Twitter right now. I can tell.
I'm so tired.
It's a dumpster fire on Twitter.
Seriously?
Yeah.
And if what you said, Noel, if what you said is true about this whole rumor thing where the Doctor's supposed to kiss Yaz to take the angel out of her or whatever, that would be such a blatant slap in the face to Parting of the Ways. I can't even begin to describe it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Chibnall is incapable of having an original thought.
That literally is the ending to Parting of the fucking Ways. And if he tries to do that and rip off Parting of the Ways, oh my God, I will have a field day. I will have a fucking field day.
Yep.
By the way, someone just said to me that the Doctor is married to River Song. I just like to point out that she married the Tessellect, you fucking moron. He's even ignoring the fact that she married the Tessellect and not actually the Doctor. Like, that was blatantly shown in the episode. She married the Tessellect. She did not marry the Doctor. So the Doctor,
when she kissed him, the camera went into his eye and you could see him in there.
To River Song.
They also got married in a timeline that got wiped out.
Exactly.
Let's hope the same thing happens with this bloody timeline.
Oh, please, now. God help us.
I've had a look, no, but it does look like it's a bronze Dalek. It doesn't look black to me. Yeah,
it's bronze.
It is dark. It is dark, and the lighting does make it look darker, but it's definitely a bronze one from what I can see.
So this Sea Devil special, Easter Sunday, I take it.
It does say spring special, so yeah, I'm assuming Easter.
It'll be Easter.
Just watching that.
Are they allowed to do an Easter one?
I've seen the classic episodes with the Sea Devils, and I'm not the first one to acknowledge the fact that the special effects back then weren't that great, but the Sea Devils in those older episodes look a billion times better than whatever the hell that thing was.
Yeah.
It's weird that this eyes move
that-
around. It
Is
looked
that
like a cartoon.
CGI or animatronic or a person in a
It
suit?
looked like CGI.
It
Yeah.
looks CGI, but I think it could be probably a mix of animatronics and CGI.
That thing looked terrible. The head was way too small. It looked terrible, like obscenely fake.
I can see eye holes in the neck.
Outfits that they wore back in the 70s was better than that.
I can see eye holes in the neck.
I mean, the worst. I'm loving the new Sea Devil design, but what threw me off was the awful CGI on the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
It was so bad, but the design itself I think is great. The same with the Sontaran designs from Flux. It's just a shame that the story
Well,
is such a shit show.
It's better than what they did with the Silurians. I didn't like the human-looking Silurian thing.
No, I wish they stuck with the original design for the Silurians as well. But wasn't there a line saying that they were like a different breed?
Yeah, I suppose, but bring those back. Maybe they will. Maybe not now. Not now.
Are they still carrying those disc weapon things that
I
they
hope
always
so.
carry?
I haven't seen anything in like the small clip we've seen, but I hope they do still have those disc guns because they were quite cool.
I'm actually petrified. I'm not gonna lie to you. The more I think about this, the more worried I am, because the fact he's bringing back a monster that hasn't been in the show in what 30, 40 years roughly.
Yeah.
You know, like this is like, when I say this word, I don't mean it as like as a positive, but this is the ballsiest thing that he's about to do.
Yeah.
I do not have the faith in him to pull it off. I don't
No,
have
I
the faith to do it.
I don't think the Sea Devils have been seen since, I want to say, fourth Doctor?
Fifth Doctor.
Third?
Fifth.
Third Doctor.
Fifth.
I'm just
And fifth.
I'm just worried in case he. Listen, if he does them justice, you know, I as I've always said, if he does something good, I will say he's done something good. But the track record of the past 7 episodes, like, no.
As long as he doesn't try to bring back the Merca, we're good.
Hey, you just God knows what's going to happen. Well,
I think he's going to bring back variations of the Merca.
He might do.
You know, like CGI versions.
Oh no.
Nah, he's listen. The only thing that's getting me through this is the fact that like 2 hours left of this fucking era. 2 hours,
Yeah.
and that's it. That's what we've got. So
The end is near.
They already did a comic book series recently last year centered on a Sea Devil storyline. It was a 10th Doctor, 13th Doctor mashup where, as a result of some of the things that happened in the Time Lord Victorious, it created a bit of a paradox. And this was a version of the 10th Doctor who was still traveling with Martha, so
yeah,
quite young. And they created an alternate timeline where the Weeping Angels wound up in 1967, where the Doctor originally was with Martha and Blink when they got stuck back there. They were never supposed to be there, and the Sea Devils wound up taking over the Earth, and basically enslaving the human race. So there was a version of Rose who had never met the Doctor, and her family was still alive, her father and mother both, because they had been enslaved and she had become this resistance fighter or whatever. The comic book was pretty decent. I think that seems like a better idea for a story than whatever they're going with this garbage. I don't know.
13, like the late 1300s, early 1400s is this whole period. I think Chinese pirates. I'm not 100% sure. I think.
Sorry about that.
No, the time period for the
1800s.
1800s. Oh, right.
Is that the same female Chinese pirate that they showed in the third Pirates of the Caribbean, when all the pirates came together for the meeting?
I didn't watch it, but probably. I mean, she is a historical figure. She is a real historical character.
Yeah.
So
it's. I don't know what to think of it. Like, on the one hand, I'm like, the bloody Sea Devils are coming back, but the other hand, I'm like, Chibnall, oh God.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing where, like, I want to have high hopes for this, but the other part of me is like, it's not worth it. So don't do it to yourself.
Don't set yourself up for that pain.
It's a risk, though, because I mean, I know he's brought back some other known villains. You got your Cybermen, your Daleks, Angels, the Sontarans, but those are all enemies that have been throughout the New Who verse. Sea Devils is specifically a classic Who villain that a lot of the fan base that he's pandering to will probably look like, who the fuck are these people?
Yeah. Well, listen, it's like this. If he does them well, I'll come on here and say, fair fucking play. But if he doesn't, I will come on here on Easter Sunday night, piss drunk, and I will destroy him. I will roast the shit out of him for doing that, a classic villain. I will do it. So, you know, the balls to his court, as I say, it's probably the ballsiest thing he's done is taking a character from that, you know, from that far back, and that hasn't been seen in modern Who, and write the story for them, because it's either going to be half decent or absolutely diabolical, and at the minute I'm probably about 80-20 for it to be absolutely diabolical.
They'll probably be there, but they'll probably be ancillary to the plot. You know, that's how he generally seems to like. Look at how he dealt with the Cyberman in Flux, and it's just like they were completely ancillary.
Yeah. Hold up. Did not Chibnall write the two-parter in, what was it, season 6, where he reintroduced the Silurians, Cold Blood, and the other part?
Series 5, what was that?
And that was the first reintroduction of the Silurians in decades.
Yeah.
And it's been widely panned as a middling meh pair of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that I think there's your the level you're going to be looking at.
I wouldn't hold out too much hope.
But the thing is about that episode is that you have half decent actors on it, whereas this here you don't.
Yeah.
I am expecting a lot of callbacks to the first Sea Devil stories, considering this one takes place out at sea and them attacking ships.
Yeah. Well,
I say callbacks, I mean rip-offs.
Yeah. What I would like to see is like a giant sea monster or something. You know, that would impress me, like a giant squid or something. Yeah.
The giant
Devils have a kraken.
Yeah.
I have to say for certain that Cold Blood two-parter, the introduction of Madame Vastra, everything hinged on her. If the actress had not been able to pull off that role as well as she did in that whole sub-storyline where she, you know, she wanted all the humans dead because they had murdered all of her people, and she had made a promise to the one that died that she was going to avenge that one's death, and that whole storyline, and then the doctor having to convince her to give them a chance. If they had not been able to pull that part of it off, the whole thing would have failed immeasurably. And out of it, we got a pretty decent character in Madame Vastra and Jenny and all that. I just don't know that he has the ability to do that in this case.
Let's while we're at it, bring back the Kroll. Let's have the Kroll facing off against the Sea Devils. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Can we not have you know, like one of the last battles in the next episode is where we're on the ship and we're out at sea, and somehow some fucking monster rises out of the ocean and just grabs Yaz and just like fucking wraps itself around her and just drowns her.
Squeezes the life out of her first.
Yeah, like a python, like some sort of like a king cobra, and just fucking, you know, blast her out of the ocean. Make her, you know what? Actually, make her walk the plank. Make Yaz the plank, walk the plank.
Oh yes, poetic justice. Oh my god,
yes. Make her
do it, Chib. Do it.
Even when he wrote Cold Blood, he wasn't exactly doing that himself. He was still he was just the writer. he still had to answer to Moffat. At that
I'd
time.
say Moffat probably tweaked a few things on that.
The same way when he wrote 42, he still had to answer to RTD, and RTD pretty much had to hold his hand and rewrite half of that episode.
How the fuck did they get that guy in the first place? Like, seriously,
The
and
Doctor
keep him
is
on.
Yeah,
This case is-
has the Doctor always been asexual, not boy, asexual, yeah?
Yeah.
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 But in this case, this Easter special, there's no hand holding involved. This is all Chibnall. So I don't really hold out all that much.
So I would just like to say to the gender ideologues, what about asexual rights? You know, like asexual visibility. Like, because like this is another one of those genders that they espouse. You know, asexuals, and so you're removing the Doctor's asexuality to make the Doctor a lesbian. So you're denying asexual visibility. Well, very inclusive. Very not inclusive.
So you're saying you think the Doctor can amorously love someone, but he doesn't necessarily want physical relationships?
Yeah.
Because if you remember, I know it's for some fans it's debatable, but you remember the what was it? Green Death, last part when Joe went off and got married to Clyde. You could see how much that broke his heart.
Yeah, I don't know if that's romantic emotions. I mean, you have to bear in mind he's always at that point been written as a sort of grandfatherly figure.
Right.
I mean, I think he's just sad to lose her because he cares deeply for her as like a daughter, not as a romance. And I think this is the problem with modern day thinking in this sort of postmodernist deconstruction that we're currently existing in, is that we have to project a romance on things that just simply were not there. And I think it's very easy to look back on that and think, yeah, he must have fancied Joe. No, that would have been creepy even then.
Yeah.
I think it's the same with Sarah Jane, the way that he couldn't really look at her as she left, and he was clearly sad. But it's for him, it's like the end of an era. Every time it happens, you know, he goes on these adventures with these people he picks up, and then they move on with their lives. And it's like, well, they're going to move on with their lives, but I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to be here for thousands of years, and I'm on my own again. You know, and that, you know, they can never understand what it is to be the Doctor, and they go off and, you know, live their lives and be happy, and then, you know, have all these relationships. And he's like, well, I used to have that, but I don't have that anymore. And these people come into my life or lives fleetingly, and then they're gone. And it's sad for the Doctor, but it's not a romance, right? That's because he cares deeply about humanity, cares deeply about the humans he comes into contact with. And his companions are very much that, you know, they are companions to him. And when each one goes, and they all have a special place, but he's like, well, here we go again. You know,
even David Tennant had said it himself that he took the risk to go. I mean, it never got that far, but he was taking the risk of allowing himself to be that vulnerable with her and buying into that fantasy.
And that's why it should never happen again.
And then when he lost her, then he got her back. That was why he gave the meta-crisis to her, not just because he felt that she could make him better, but because he loved her so much that he just wanted her to be happy, and he knew he couldn't give that.
And what did he give her? He gave her a version of himself that would live the same lifespan as her.
Right, because he loved her that much. He made the most incredible sacrifice that a person could possibly make by letting this person that he loved more than anything in the world go, because he knew that it was best for her, and that he gave her this piece of himself that he had never given to anybody. He'd never been that close to anybody before. He gave this to her because he loved her that much. I'll never forget that line that he said to her in Doomsday on the beach. She was saying, what about you? You're going to be on your own. And he said, oh, you know me. Still got the TARDIS, last of the Time Lords, But you know, you get to live your life day after day, the one adventure that I can never have. She is the only one. He's never even cared about that kind of thing before until her.
Yeah.
She's the only one where he actually started to want it, to want that day after day life.
Well, I think it's important for the modern audience as well. I'm talking to the teeny boppers and the 20-nothings. Like, you know, stop projecting. Okay, understand the character. And Chibnall, shame on you for betraying the character again by this notion. The Doctor Who was successful for so many years because it wasn't a romantic lead. That was its uniqueness. That was the Doctor's unique quality. By making the Doctor just another romantic character is a betrayal of that character. It can happen with like Rose and all that, and come out of that the other end and going, well, that was an experiment. It failed. Not it failed in terms of the narrative. I mean, it failed in terms of the character being able to accept that he's practically an immortal, and it could never work. So it should never happen again. That's been done and dusted. The Doctor is emotionally mature and intelligent enough after thousands of years of life to understand that cannot happen again. And for it just to be manufactured so it can happen to appease a few bunch of people on Twitter, that's betraying the character's arc and the Doctor's character in general. That's not the Doctor to be a romantic lead in any shape, way, or form. It simply shouldn't be written in that way.
You're right, because like at the end of the day, as you say, like as both of you have said, like, you know, the Doctor's lived that long and had so many experiences to know the fact that, you know, even if he wanted a relationship, it could never work. Or even like, you know, another line I was thinking of there was the scene at the end of Series 6 where Matt Smith's Doctor drops him and Rory home, like literally takes him back home. It's like, you know, they thought, you know, I know it's a different context, it's nothing to do with relationships, but, you know, it sort of works in the same way whereby, you know, she's saying basically, you know, we want to stay with you, and he's like, well, what's the alternative? Me standing over your grave? You know, and, you know, he cares.
The TARDIS should not be used as a dating app, right? Yeah. I'm sorry, like it should be shifting the Doctor around looking for one sexual conquest to the next. No, right? That's creepy.
It's like
right?
It's like what you said. It's not just that he's immortal and he's going to lose him, and it's too painful. That is definitely true. That's the number one, is that he can't deal with that kind of loss. 2 is the fact that for him it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Because and never was that more apparent than after Waters of Mars. People might not agree with me, but after he lost Rose, he quick spiraled down hard and fast, and he was never the same after that. And then after he lost Donna, well, that was it. He was done. Like, he spiraled hard, and by the time he got to Waters of Mars, he just didn't give a damn anymore.
Yeah,
he wanted to, you know, craft time to his own making, make it bend as well. There was even, I don't know if you guys have listened to the Dalek universe set of stories, but in the first set of stories, there was a line that he said where when he realized what exactly was going on, this whole temporal thing, that time was being manipulated and events were being changed by this scientist who thought he knew everything there was to know about time travel. But of course, the Doctor obviously knows more because he's a Time Lord. He realized that he could use it for his own ends. And the first thing that he said when he realized it, the first thing that came to his mind was going back to the past and saving Rose.
Oh, do you know what they're bringing up?
Force himself. He had to literally force himself not to do that.
Yeah, do you know what they're trying? Do you know how they're trying to justify the relationship between the Doctor and Yaz right now? They're trying to say that when the Doctor was a man, he kissed certain blokes and he had sex with
God's sake.
Forced, married Marilyn Monroe and all of these other characters. So this is what they're doing to try justify it. So what you mean to tell me is because the doctor has changed gender, all of a sudden, if the doctor changes from a man to a woman, even if as a man he was attracted to women, now you're telling me because the doctor changes gender into a woman, that automatically makes them a lesbian? That's not how that works, actually.
It's just so contrived. Look, it's done only for spectacle, as I said. It's only done to appease a small bunch of people on Twitter, and that's all it was done for, because they're the only people he has supporting his entire fucking shite era, because they're the only ones who put up with absolute dreck as entertainment, because they're the ones who've blown smoke up his ass all this time. He's of course he's going to appease them, because that's all he's fucking got. Because he's betrayed everyone else, the wider audience. He's thrown the fandom into disarray. He's divided the fandom. He's destroyed the general viewing public's interest with people just becoming absolutely apathetic. He's producing absolute drivel in scripts. No character development. What's he got to lose? Fuck all. So he might as well go the whole hog and appease the few bunch of supporters that he's got, and therefore he can feel satisfied that he did something to make a bunch of venal people happy.
If he wanted to redeem himself the last minute, what he should have is like the fucking scene where you have Yaz confessing their love properly to the doctor, and then turns out the doctor just runs up and gives Dad a snog instead of her.
What they don't seem to get is that Moffat already addressed this concept with 12 and Clara not long after he regenerated into 12. She was upset because she was missing 11, and there was this whole weird subset of people who thought that she and 11 were supposed to be a thing, and it's really not. It wasn't ever. And he says this line to her, "I'm not your boyfriend," and that was my mistake. And people automatically assume that, oh, because he wanted me. No. He was saying this because he was trying to get her to understand we are not like that. I'm sorry that I didn't recognize that and make sure you understood that, but we are not like that.
Yeah.
It's never going to be like that. He pretty much nipped that in the bud, and yet Chibnall's like running all over that with this crap.
That's it. Like, you know, it's that, as you say, like Moffat was right. Like, because Moffat probably seen what was going on, the whole 11 and Clara shipper, and he's like, no, that's not what I want to do. So put this line in here, and that just nips it in the bud straight away.
It's the age difference between Clara and Peter Capaldi, between Jenna and Peter Capaldi alone. Yeah. No. It was much more.
The fact he's thousands of years older, you know, like, I mean, come on.
But their relationship was
different species,
like father-daughter type. That's the vibe I got with them. It was much more of a
that's how it should be. That's the success. Listen, the reason why Doctor Who was a success for so long was because the Doctor was a unique character on British TV. He was not a romantic lead. That is why so many, particularly young boys, and I'd say in particular, were attracted to that character because it wasn't full of that soppy nonsense. Now it's a soap opera.
Yeah.
Right? And I think this is also sexist in the way that it's pandering towards not only just the LGBT but to women, saying, oh well, girls like romance, don't they? So let's make it all. It's pish, right? That's nonsense, right? Stop betraying the character to pander to a bunch of modern day sensibilities which are already dated, right? This whole woke thing is on its way out. Get on board that, because the backlash is going to be horrendous. And frankly, it's earned. That is earned. That's the only thing that is, because it's done in such a facetious, ham-fisted way, all for political point scoring and creating controversy on Twitter, because it's the only way they get anyone to fucking talk about this crap. I'm sorry, if you're going to rely on gimmicks like this to promote the show, and by doing so dividing your audience even more, you're not doing it for the right reasons. It goes right back to what Terence Dix was saying about politics. If you're focusing on that, you're not looking at the right aims. And it's true in this case as well. It's politically motivated. It's done for spectacle, to create controversy, because the stories aren't interesting enough in and of themselves to create genuine conversation and for people to go, well, this is amazing. You know, I mean, you get a few people into. I would seriously doubt the mental health of these people, or the critical thinking or intellect of these people, or I would suggest maybe they're even paid shills at this point.
But did not Moffat already show at the end of season 9 how extremely dangerous it can be when the Doctor gets too self-involved and too attached? What he did with Clara in Hellbent, literally stealing her life in between moments of her last heartbeat, because and he was willing to literally burn the universe to the ground because they wouldn't give her back to him. Spent billions of years in the confession dial mourning her. How dangerous he can become when he's crossed like that, when you take someone from him that he's that close to. This is why.
Yeah, I think as well, having a romantic tie-in with a companion like this out of nowhere diminishes the role of the companion, diminishes the role of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And it just creates a sloppy, meaningless relationship. I mean, where's it going to go? Like, we all know the pitfalls of this. We've seen it happen with Rose. We've seen it happen, you know, in terms of how he gets too involved with the companions to, you know. And for this, it's like, it just begs the question, like the line from the Fourth Doctor in Pirate Planet. What's it for? You know, like it gives no development. If anything, this is a betrayal of all previous arcs of you know, relations with the companions. It's cheapening that to make it just another romance story. It's just like there's no romance there to talk of. It's just been so retrofitted, like everything else in Chibnall's. Everything's a retcon, everything is a refit, everything's a deconstruction, everything's chucking out the old and all the previous arcs and replacing it with such contrivances. It is a contrived relationship that it doesn't exist. Everything happened off camera prior to the first episode of The Flux, and that's what you get. That's your development there. I mean, it's sloppy, it's bad writing, and shame on people for celebrating this absolute drivel.
Their characterization down to nothing but the romance.
Yeah.
And nothing else to focus on other than that. Like, they have no character development whatsoever, except they want
because the story that we were presented tonight was drivel, meaningless. Again, another pointless story that did nothing. Same with The Flux. The whole thing was a nothing. Nothing happened again, and the only thing that people can talk about in this episode is the Yaz and the Thasmin thing, right? That's the only bloody thing to come out of this thing. That's the only reason this fucking thing exists. Yeah. Is to shoehorn this in, because fuck it, why not? You know, Chibnall at this point realizes he's out the door. It's all for nothing. He's bollocks it up, so he's going to go double down.
In 3 series and the specials that we've had, this is my argument to the stands on Twitter, right? Because they're trying to justify this, and I've basically said to them, forget about the past, right? Forget about when the Doctor was a man and whatever you perceived of whatever relationships the Doctor was in, right? This is the point, right? We're talking about Yaz and the Doctor in this era, right? And in this era, in 3 series and the specials that we've had, show me the evidence that backs up this so-called romantic attachment between the two of them. There is none. A throwaway line here in one series and in a throwaway line in each series is not good enough. If you're going to do something like this and put the Doctor in a relationship with another woman in the TARDIS, well then you must lay the groundwork for that and develop that story. Where is the story development? There is none. So
and if Yaz
arguments about the Doctor being a man and being in past relationships means fuck all, because when you break it down, as I said, we're talking about Yaz and the Doctor. We're not talking about the Doctor and Rose, the Doctor and River, or the Doctor and Jack, or any of these other people that the Doctor kissed or didn't fucking kiss, right? We're talking about these two in this era. Show me the story development and the character development that justifies this. There is none. And sending me a screenshot of a photograph the way they look at each other is not fucking development. Show me more. If you haven't got more to show me, shut the fuck up, fake fan.
There is a thought that just popped into my mind is we know that Yaz isn't coming back for season 14, yes. But wouldn't it now be interesting if, let's say, she did stay on and the Doctor turned into a man? How this would turn out.
You turn right around and walk out the door, probably.
Oh, no, not sorry. Down for that. No. Oh, well, you're not down for some female penis? Because how do you know he's not a woman? See, it's. Yeah, the whole thing's ridiculous. It really is. It's all done for clicks and outrage and the usual bollocks. And it's shame on Chibnall for just thinking he's being so fucking goody two. It's woke bullshit gone on steroids. It really is. I'm just sick to fuck of it. It's not honest. It's dishonest. The whole thing, the whole development of this sudden relationship is completely dishonest. Not in the slightest. And for people to be satisfied with that, they really goes to prove that all they care about is they care about Phasmin. They don't give a shit about Doctor Who. Doctor Who for them is just a vehicle to get their little rocks off, basically. Yeah. That's all it is. Shame on them. They're not fans. They're just shippers.
They'll be gone next year.
Oh, hopefully. I hope so.
That's just what I say. You know, you were all there, and I was just thinking when you were chatting about the whole relationship thing and all about the Doctor. Like, I hope and I pray that when RTD comes in, that what he gives us next is nothing like it's nothing like what he gave us the first time around.
Teddy's Terry Tales. So just interrupt you there. Will anyone be disappointed if I don't finish the Flux reviews? I'm just so over it. No one blames you, darling. No one blames you.
I wouldn't even watch it, to be quite honest with you. I'm being honest. After watching it myself, I know I'm not going to tell people not to watch it, but I think you'd be a glut for punishment if you put yourself.
Cheryl, if you want a good 5-part story that connects well and works as well as one story, go and watch Children of Earth, Torchwood. If you want a fucking story that links together well and works, watch Children of Earth. Because if you line up Children of Earth to Doctor Who Flux, it just rips it apart completely.
And just to reply there to Ontos, who says, "It's for outrage," quoting me, says the people outraged by it. Well, that's the whole point. They do this deliberately in order to enrage the long-term fandom. It's done because we know, like anyone who's been a fan of this show longer than the last fucking 5 years will know that it's antithetical to what Doctor Who is about. This is using Doctor Who as a platform and as a political message rather than providing decent stories. I wouldn't be quite so bothered about a female Doctor having a lesbian relationship with a companion if it was interesting. It isn't interesting. It's badly written. Chibnall's era has entirely been badly written. The character development isn't earned. If it was earned, you could justify it, but it's not. It's contrived. It's shoehorned in to appease a few fanatics and shippers on Twitter. It's throwing the rest of the fandom and the general audience under the bus, and that's why people are pissed off. And yes, it is to create that conversation. It is for the outrage. And yes, we are outraged by it because that's the entirety of what this era is all about. It's ironic that he calls the villains in the Flux the Division. That is Chibnall. He is the Division. He is the divisive figure in all
this. Exactly. Well, look, I'll get you some ratings because we could sit here all night. We're at the 3-hour mark now. And we could continue this whole conversation and keep going into why this is absolutely awful and why it's disrespectful to the people that he's pandering to. But what I'll do is I'll get everybody to give their rating for this story. And if you just want to take a go at what you think the overnights might be, I would ask you to do that as well. So we'll start with Signal later first.
I'm going to give it 2 out of 10. A point for the Gatling guns because I quite like those, and a point for the Sea Devil reveal.
Okay. Overnights.
Overnights. Well, episode 6 of Flux got 3.58 million. I think this might do slightly better, so I'm going to say 3.6.
Okay, Marty.
I will give it a 3 out of 10. 1 point for Ashley B. 1 point for Jesus. It's it's bad when you're struggling to actually give points, isn't it? 1 point for Ashley B. 1 point for I should really be taking a point off for Pauline McGlynn because even though she was on it, she was horribly underused and she should have been there more. 1 point for her wee appearance, and another point for the Sea Devil, Ben. The overnights, I would say about 3.8, 3.9 million.
No problem. Wolfenstein.
I will give it a 3 out of 10. 1 point for Dan because Dan has grown on me throughout this season, and I think he's been criminally underused and made to look like a moron when he doesn't deserve it. I think his character could be much better than that if they had given him half a chance. Really showed a lot of that in this episode tonight, and that's why I was enraged with what Yaz was saying. Yeah. Anyway, so to Dan, second point, special effects were improved. I liked the Gatling gun, even though it couldn't hit the broadside of a fucking barn. And 3 for the Sea Devil reveal at the end, even though, we'll see. As for ratings, I know that specials tend to get a bit of a bump because they're specials, but I also know that the Flux overall didn't go over well with the fan base as a whole. Kind of, it went down like a brick. So 3.7, maybe. I'm being kind.
Right. Well, I'll give my rating. So I'm just going to give this a 1 out of 10. It's not getting any points for the Sea Devil reveal because that's not the part of the episode. So I'm not going to judge it that way. I'm just going to judge it on what I saw. And the 1 goes to Aisling B and Pauline McGlynn, even though she wasn't used properly. I thought the banter between the mother and daughter, as an Irishman, I could tell you it was pretty accurate. When a child rings your parent up and says, "I love you, I wish you a happy new year." What's wrong? That's typical. So for that reason and that reason only, that's the only point I'm giving. The episode itself as a whole was boring, so I'm not gonna rate it because it was shit. It's the same. It's just crap. It was boring, but I'm giving it a 1 out of 10 because as we've been talking and analysing it, I've just realised as we were talking that there's more wrong with this than I actually initially when you watch. See, that's the thing about when you do a watch along. When you're watching it live, it's only when you sit down and discuss with a panel and you discuss with your friends, I should say, you kind of pick up on things that you probably would have picked up on. So it's a 1 out of 10 for me. As for the overnights, it does tend to get a bit of a bounce, but because it looks so bad and there was so much outrage, and I think there will be outrage about the way this was done and handled. So I'm going to say overnights 3.5 if it's lucky. And the consolidated, we will get into that. I'll do a video on what I think the consolidate. Tomorrow I'm going to do another video actually on this episode, so look out for that. because I've got plenty more to say that I didn't say on the panel. So come and join me for that. Real Super Doctor, you're next.
I'm going to give it a. Well, initially when I saw it, I just was kind of a bit angry, and I gave it a 2 out of 10. But I'm giving it a 1 out of 10. It's complete, predictable, boring mess. Pointless. The Daleks been in it and that, and just the same old bad acting from Jodie Whittaker. I just don't know where to begin. I'm just gonna give it a 1 out of 10.
No problem. Who else have I to ask?
You've got his ratings.
I've got the ratings. I'm gonna think it's gonna be 3.9 million. The AI, I think it could be 78.
No problem. Who's next? Who have I done so far? Sigma, Real Super Doctor, myself, and who else? Have I done anybody else? And Wolf and Storm. Sorry, so it's Lee and Marty next. So we'll go with you, Lee. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I've already been. It's just Lee.
Say that again. What? See, you're confused. Will you speak up? Who's next?
Me.
Right, but then fucking talk then.
I give it 0.
Phones off there.
Do you want to do
Fuck all.
You want to do a little intro again? That was so funny though.
The gap between the Disaster of Flux and this didn't seem that long. So usually there's a sort of quite a big bump for the special. So, I mean, if we look historically, in 2018-19, you had the special overnights 5.15 million. Yeah, 15, that would be a laugh. 5.15, then it was followed by 4.69. So going off that, but taking into account the flux, I think we're looking at around 4.1.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Marty, did I ask you? I'm getting confused.
Yeah, you did.
Right, so that's everybody then, is it?
Yep.
Right. Well, yeah, everybody in the chat gave their ratings as well, pretty low from a lot of people. There were a couple of people in the chat that did like tonight's episode, which is, I'm glad for you guys if you did. As we say, I never really have a problem if anybody actually likes the bloody thing. It'd be nice to see more of the people that do like it come into the chat and actually explain why they like it. There are some that do come in and are willing to tell us why they liked it, but a lot of
Cybermat Strike says, "Why so negative? We got to watch 13th Doctor executed over and over." Always
but even that wasn't enough.
I thought I'd get more excitement out of it, but no.
The novelty dropped very quickly.
It's like it didn't look painful enough.
You've got 2 more episodes until she gets executed for real this time. So hang in there.
I hope she does like the big thing with the arm sticking out, like on the cliff, like in that memed picture that someone do it like that. Live up to it. Look at me, our heels are alive. That's
Again, you missed 2.5, aka 5 chibis shits. Okay, follow. Yeah, he's thrown up some Twitter accounts there as well. Do us a favor, put me panels, YouTube channels in the chat as well, if you don't mind. We'll go around the board and we'll ask people to shout out their channels. Okay, your channel, nobody else's, your channel. So we'll start with you, the Wolf and the Storm. So if you have that coming up on your channel, please let everybody know.
Yeah, you guys all know me. I'm on Twitter @WolfandStorm78 and on YouTube, Wolf and the Storm. I'm going to have some reviews coming up. Obviously, they're my own personal review for this special. I'm also going to be posting a video review for a new Bad Wolf comic book series that is out, but I wanted to wait till the whole comic book series is out because it's coming out month to month. The last issue is in February. This is supposed to be an 11th Doctor, 8th Doctor team up with Rose Tyler, like from her, the actual Rose Tyler dealing with Bad Wolf who's gone crazy, and yeah, it's going to be really, really good. So I'm going to be reviewing that when the full series is completely issued. Also look forward to reviews for Around the World in 80 Days with David Tennant. The first 2 episodes have already come out. The 3rd episode is out tomorrow. I'm debating whether or not to issue reviews after each episode or just wait and do one whole big review of the whole thing. I think I'm going to do one big review of the whole thing when it's done. So there's that. Yeah, and also my review of the last Christopher Eccleston 9th Doctor adventure set when I get around to listening to it.
And Sally, welcome. Yes, we agree. Sally, I haven't seen Sally in the chat before, but welcome. And yes, we pretty much agree with you. Who's next?
Yeah, just go ahead.
Sigma.
You can find me on YouTube at Sigmalative. I play games and make bad commentary. So if that's your thing, come check it out. I've also started a second channel called Theta Sigma, where I do plan to upload Doctor Who related content eventually.
Makes sense.
Real Super Doctor.
I've got a channel under Real Super Doctor on YouTube, and I've got a Twitter account under Real Super Fugitive Doctor on Twitter.
Fantastic. Oh, you've called yourself Real Fugitive Doctor now.
Yeah, I just did that. take the P at the moment.
Okay. Who's next? Lee.
Yeah, you can find my channel with all my sort of digital art stuff and trailers and whatnot. I'm going to be premiering a new one for Rabbi from Another Planet. That will be put up soon when he's decided to release it. It's Aldred Audio Visual. You can find me on Twitter. I'm currently on suspension for daring to tell someone who's got jihad in their name, who said that Jews are Zionists, are Nazis and should be punched. And then I posted pictures of Hamas people showing swastikas and Nazi salutes and said, knock yourself out. I'm the one who got suspended. So I'll be back when that appeal has gone through, which they seem to be taking their time over. It all surprisingly happened after I was followed by a certain writer. Interesting enough. So yeah, there is that. So I'm just waiting for that to happen, but you can find me there eventually. Next.
Yeah, you can find me lingered on the old tweet or tweet what. I think PD Rich threw the link into the comment box. And for channel, no channel yet, but I suppose I might as well drop the bombshell.
I think you should, now that the RTD era is coming up, I think you should set up a channel, because I know you'll have a lot to say when RTD returns. So
it's happening. I will break the news to you all now. I am going to set up a new channel. When I'm not even bothered with this era at all. I have bigger.
No, you're right.
Once RTD rocks around, keep your eyes peeled, because I'm.
We'll set it up before it starts, because there's going to be stuff coming in.
Yeah, do that in the next few weeks, and we'll start stubbing to you, even if you don't put content up, so we can get your channel on the go. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm waiting for too.
Yeah, that's it. But
call it RTD Watch.
RTD. That's actually not a problem. Anyway, that's what I say. I need names for this channel, so you can fire names at me.
RTD Watch.
RTD Watch.
And watch, like TikTok, what, come on.
Right, so. Anyway, and in the meantime, you can find me lingering around here rather than raving too. So, yeah, always a pleasure to be on here and be able
No
to.
problem. You're more than welcome here anytime. All you know that. Obviously, you can find me here on the TARDIS Zone. I'll be doing another video on this whole abomination again. I'll probably do it tomorrow. I don't know yet. We'll see what Cheryl is doing first. She's supposed to get her reviews out in the next couple of days, but I don't know if she's actually doing it now. But we'll see. I don't blame her, to be quite honest with you. Why would you want to fucking relive this fucking thing again? But if she doesn't, I will obviously have that video up tomorrow. Now, we'll be starting Cobra Kai Season 1 watch-alongs. So if anybody...
Oh, what's the first episode of Season 4 last night?
Yeah, I didn't watch it yesterday. I'll say nothing.
Oh, wait. Sorry.
I'm still on Series 3. I haven't started Series 3 because after Series 2, the way that ended, Lee, I needed a bit of fucking... I was actually gutted, man. I wasn't expecting it to happen. You know what I'm talking about. So it took a lot out of me. And I haven't been able to watch Series 3 yet because of what happened to a certain character. I was fucking gutted, man. That's all I'll say. But I'm going to watch Series 3.
Gets better, I promise.
But here's the thing. If anybody wants to be part of the Cobra Kai watch-alongs, you have to send me a DM and let me know. We're going to be doing them next week. So I need to know within the next couple of days who wants to be on the panel. Also, Rick and Morty will be returning. New Who, as I said, New Who will be done up until Peter Capaldi, and then we're retiring New Who, and we'll be concentrating then on the RTD era. We'll be going back, and we're going to watch all the way from Series 1 to Series 4 and the specials and relive the RTD era in all its glory. The reason why I want to do that is because to remind people of what we actually got in the RTD era, because by listening to some of the comments out there from even our side, I think they have forgotten how progressive RTD actually was. So that's why I want to do his era, including the episodes that include You Know Who. We just have to do them. He's part of it. It's not our fault, but I'm going to do them now. I wasn't comfortable doing them, but a long time has passed now. So we will go back and relive the RTD era all over again. So come and join me for them. And of course, we will always have Classic Who on the channel for you guys that want you our Classic Who fix. That'll be there as well. We'll also be doing reviews of the Batman and other movies that are coming out. And also, I will be doing a watch along of the Ghostbusters trilogy. So Ghostbusters 1, 2, and Afterlife. And if anybody has a problem with me excluding 2016, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you can take his vagina ridden joke fucking piece of shit and ram it up your back. Nobody gives a shit about 2016. So we'll be doing the trilogy. Come and join me for that as well. And we'll be doing other stuff as well that I haven't mentioned in that little trailer reveal that I gave you of upcoming stuff. We got plenty. The Orville, as you know, will be returning. So I'll start off with Series 1 and 2 watch-alongs as well for the Orville to gear up for Series 3. So we got a lot Boba Fett as well. Boba Fett. I say it wrong and everybody was slagging me last night off stream. You missed it. Melina was trying to get me to say Boba Fett and I was saying it wrong and she was pissing herself laughing. Hey Melina. So we'll be now we won't be doing reviews of that or watch-alongs of that. But I will be reviewing each episode because most of the fandom menace have already started bitching about it. So I'm going to watch it for myself and see if they're actually justified. But by the looks of things that I've seen, they're not justified. Remember, these are the very same people that didn't like The Mandalorian and only supported The Mandalorian after Gina Carano was attacked. And I want you to remember that, right? These are also the very same people that tell you to boycott Disney Plus, but yet watch it on Disney Plus. You have to cop on to all of this shit that's going on in the fandom. As I said. So, as I said, you'll always get my honest opinion on this, and I don't fucking hold back, and I never will hold back. That's all to come on this channel. So I hope you'll join me for 2022 and me panel. And as usual, I want to thank all my panel. So I want to thank Signa, Marty, Real Super Doctor, The Wolf in the Storm, Problem Being, and Queen Charlotte. So we will have plenty coming on the channel. So come and join us. We're actually splashing out a bit and doing other stuff. I'm not going to be focusing solely on Doctor Who anymore because, you know, Chris Chibnall has just, look at, I'm just going to be out straight. He's knocked the stuffing out of me. I don't have to fight anymore to be complaining about this. I don't want to be coming on and complaining week in, week out. So I can't wait for the RTD. And as I said, though, and I'll make this very clear, if RTD goes down the same route as Chris Chibnall, which I doubt he will, but if he does, I'm just letting you know now, rather than me come on every week like we have been doing for this era, I won't be doing it for the RTD era. It ends up being worse. I'm done. We will do Classic Who and we'll do other stuff on the channel. I can't go through another 2 or 3 years of complaining about this show. It breaks me heart. It really does. I grew up with this show. This is a show that's touched us all and has helped us all in certain ways. And we all grew up loving this character. If it turns out not to be the same, there's no point in me continuing on. But the channel will continue on, if you know what I mean. And we'll keep the TARDIS our name because we still will be doing Doctor Who. Will just be classic. So yeah, I'll be done if it ends up being the same. So I just want to make that clear because I'm not going to come on here and watch something because we've done it already. And not that we came on Jordan Flux to hate watch. We genuinely did try and enjoy it. And some of us on the panel did actually enjoy certain things that happened in it. But I just don't want to go through this again. This episode has just knocked the stuffing out of me now completely. And I'm done. I'm not giving this man the benefit of the doubt anymore. You know, he's not getting the benefit of the doubt the next special. I'm just going to go in and I'm going to just say what I see. And that's it. He's gotten the benefit of the doubt too many times. And he keeps letting us down and pandering to those little twats that are fake fans. And that's what you are. All you Tasman stands and all you Jodie bots, yous are fake fans. Get out of the fandom. I'm done with yous all now. Right? And he's thinking he's come onto me Twitter account and harass me and bully me so I start blocking yous all. Not going to happen anymore. I'm going to take yous all on. Come on. I'll take yous all on.
No, don't just block him.
No. Be quiet. Because I will shove the truth down yous are throat. Right? Everything that yous have came at me with, I've had an answer for, and yous haven't been able to respond back. The reason why yous can't respond back because I'm hitting yous with logic and facts and truth bombs, right? There's no justification for this relationship. There's been no groundwork laid, and it's absolutely Q-baiting by Chris Chibnall, and he ought to be a fucking ashamed of himself, for what he is doing, because he is facilitating in what we are seeing on social media and in general society now. No wonder there is increased cases of homophobia in society and in this fandom. And he is responsible for some of that because of this baiting that he is doing. He's not even doing it with any class or any fucking respectability. He's shoehorning it all in, and because he's doing that then, and anybody complains about it, and even if gay or lesbian people come out and complain about it, they're piled on. And that's down to him. You're an absolute, seriously, I'm going to say it again, you are the worst showrunner. And I'm sorry, he is worse than JNT. Don't care what anybody fucking says. He is worse than JNT. What he has done is worse. And I'll tell you why. It's not just the show that he's ruined. Lee brought it up earlier on. Look what he's done to this fandom. Look what he's done to the fandom. Look what he's done to the reputation of this show. It's all in disarray. Okay? So, look, people call him a hack before he got the job. I was willing to give him a fucking go. I don't know why. I should have listened to these fucking people. But I found out quick enough that he was a fucking hack anyway. We all did. But this man is another disgrace to this show. Piers Wenger, bow your head in shame. Bow your head in shame. And as for the director of this episode, yeah, I'll admit it was well directed. but you need to shut the fuck up as well with all your fucking pro-women shit and saying women. Where about Verity Lambert, you fucking asshole? Right? You're going to dismiss the whole fucking past of Doctor Who? Oh, hashtag opportunities. Shut the opportunity up your back fucking side. Right? I'm fucking sick of this. I'm fucking sick of Doctor Who being used as a vehicle for all of this fucking stuff. And it's not even done properly. If it was done properly, I wouldn't have a fucking problem with it. None of us would. But it's not. It's done shabbily, shamefully, and fucking disrespectful to fucking the people you're pandering to. Imagine in one of the Dalek episodes, brings a guy, oh, I've got my boyfriends at home. Exterminate! After 20 seconds. That's your fucking, what you call it? Your fucking, what's the word I'm trying to fucking find here? I'm so fucking angry now.
Does it begin with fuck?
This is your fucking, this is what he's doing, right? This is what he's giving us. This is his fucking pandering, right? This is what he's telling you it is the right thing. It's not. It's done shabbily. And again, I'll ask all you little morons out there, here's a question. In 3 series, bar a fucking throwaway line here and there and a fucking screenshot of the two of them looking at each other into their eyes. Show me where this is all justified. You can't. So shut the fuck up, you fake fans. Get the fuck out of the fandom when she leaves. Right? Don't let the door hitches on the way fucking out. Done which is all. Bunch of morons. You're having fans. You're fake fans. And that's what I'm going to call you from now on. Fake fans. And I don't care what backlash I get, right? And Lee, I know you always say to me, and you talk to me privately and say, I shouldn't do this, that, and the other. Mate, what you say to me is not going to make a difference anymore. I'm full out war now. This is done. I am fucking, nobody's going to stop me from doing what I'm going to fucking do now. Right? These people, I've had enough of them. I'm sick and tired of this fucking fandom. I'm sick and tired of these little planks thinking that this fucking show is theirs. It's not fucking theirs. It's our fucking show. It's our fucking show. Right? And it's being hijacked by a fucking idiot. Right? Who putting all this fucking nonsense in it and not even doing it fucking properly. Fucking disgraceful. Get the fuck out of the fandom, the whole lot of yous. Get out. Yous ain't welcome anymore. The sooner yous all fuck off and grow up, the better. Right? And this is a warning to RTD as well, man. You go down this same route, right, as Chris Chibnall, right? This show is dead in the water. I'm just warning you. So you do what you did in 2005, and you develop characters and do what you did the last time, right? Because if you don't, mate, the show is done. The show is done. Even you can't save this shit show, right? And someone says, I'll be all right, Chris, RTD will fix this. RTD cannot fix this, right? He is a good writer, but there's no way he could fix this now. How the fuck can he fix all of this mess? There's no way. He can't do a line anymore. A throwaway line. Remember we were saying a few weeks back, if he does a line, that'll be, we'll all accept that. But now after this, seriously, even a throwaway line is not going to fucking fix this and resolve this. This has to be fucking, seriously, it needs to be either retconned completely or he just ignore and reboot just do a reboot version and ignore what came before. And I know that's sad because it kind of dismisses the other doctors. But at this fucking stage, I think it's the only fucking thing to do because there's no way he could fix this. He's a genius writer, but even a genius writer like RTD is not going to fix what Chris Chibnall has done. There is no way. And now he's roping in the Sea Devils. Well done, you fucking asshole. You see, they're one of my favourite fucking classic characters and now you're bringing them back. And I know that it's just going to be fucking for nostalgia reasons. And I know that you're going to ruin them and they're going to be a bit part or they're going to fucking, you're just going to ruin it because you just can't help yourself. You call yourself a fan. I'm sorry. I don't care. I put up an interview on someone trying to say to me that's not accurate, that Chris Chibnall didn't say that. Well, the fucking interview was there. He did say it. He was never a fucking fan of this show. And I fucking said it. He's never a fan of this fucking show. Right? And it shows. And it shows because I'm a fan. I wouldn't even write this fucking shit. I know it's not good enough. And as a fan, I wouldn't go down this route of the timeless child and wiping out Time Lords and fucking putting them into cyber fucking men's bodies. That makes no fucking sense. Remember all the things that he has done, right? This is just one episode, even the Daleks. Go back and look at all the other stuff that he has done. He's an absolute fucking disgrace. No, I didn't see Paul Cornell's tweet on his story, and I honestly don't give a fuck what Paul Cornell has to say, because that little bitch blocked everybody when they came out and started complaining about the timeless child. So he can go and fucking chill off like the fucking rest of them. So I'm not interested what that muppet has to say. So if you want to stick the tweet up, stick it up all you want. I'm not even gonna fucking acknowledge the cunt, right? He is just as bad as the rest of them, because he blocked fans in this fucking this fandom when they didn't like the timeless child. So he's another fucking dickhead, right? So who gives a fuck what Paul Cornell has to say, or anybody else that used to write for this show has to fucking say? They're all fucking defending that man, which is even fucking worse. Instead of coming out and saying, yes, this is fucking true. Yes, he is ripping fucking RTD off and fucking Stephen Moffat off. No, they're pandering to him. They're fucking facilitating the man. So fuck Paul Cornell and fuck the rest of them that have fucking backed him up. Seriously, man, you need to get out of the BBC as well. I'm glad Badwood Studios have it, but RTD, please do not let us down. I can't do this. You cannot let us down. You cannot let us down. We can't do this anymore. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I mean, I could come on RTD's era being bad, and I could come on and complain about it every week, get the clicks, get the views, but I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to do that. RTD better get this right, because he has. I'm telling you now, after tonight, and remember, we still have 2 specials to go. After tonight, in my opinion, RTD is probably facing the biggest task of his career to fix this show and to get it back to where it belongs. And right now, to me, it seems mission impossible. I hope he could prove me wrong, and I hope he can give us a show that reminds me why I fell in love with Doctor Who in the first place. And Chris Chibnall took that away from me. And I'll never forgive him. As I said, I'll never forgive him. But this man has no fucking comprehension of what he's actually fucking done. And that makes it even worse. And this man actually thinks he's clever. That's the weird thing about it, guys. He actually thinks he's writing something amazing here. If I was working for the BBC or I was his boss, say if I was in Piers Wenger's position, Series 11 had dropped, and I seen the reaction of the fans and the general audience out there, I would have sacked that cunt in 2 seconds. I would have sacked him, I would have replaced him, right? And I would have said to the new showrunner, you've got to replace this Doctor too. Yeah? And bring it back to a traditional role, traditional male, and a female companion. And if you want to bring in another companion as well, you can do so. But I don't want you fucking pandering to a certain fucking minority in this fucking fandom either. You've got to make Doctor Who for everybody. For everybody. And if you're not willing to do what I tell you to do, the brief that I've given you, you're out the fucking door too. Right? I'm done. I'm done. This whole thing. Listen, I've no problem. Look, Captain Jack, Jenny and Vastra, as you know, I love them. I love Captain Jack. You all know that I have no problem with representation in this fucking area. I never have. The problem is the way Chris Chibnall has fucking done it has been fucking absolutely disgraceful and disrespectful to the people that he's supposed to be fucking pandering to. That's why I'm angry, right? That's why I'm angry. Fucking unbelievable. I swear, this man, do you know, I'm starting to think it was a plan. Destroy the show because it was stale. Get Chibnall in, let him do what he wants, so because we know he's bad. Let him destroy the show. We bring RTD back to the optimism, and we can just rebuild the show. That's what it feels like is happening to me right now. But you didn't need to destroy Doctor Who to do that. All you needed to do was, after fucking Stephen Moffat, was put the show on hiatus for fucking 2 or 3 fucking years and then bring it back. And then when RTD was available, then bring him back. Because if you think about it, if they had to put it on hiatus after Moffat left, right, for 5 years later, they could have brought it back 5 years later.
Yeah, but you're forgetting they did this so that they could virtue signal. That's the only reason. That's the reason why we have the casting we've got. And the stories we're getting is that they put the message before everything else, and that's the way the BBC has gone, you know. And how's that working out for you, BBC?
Should have sacked Chibnall after Series 11, told me about how said to do the rest till the 60th, and then let RTD come back. That's what I would have done.
Someone put up a 22-second video, right? I won't mention the person's name, but they wrote this. For someone who jokes a lot about enjoying queerbait, I have to say I got real emotional when they confirmed Tasman. Wow. As a sapphic, wherever that is, seeing it confirmed was just so powerful. And they've got an LGBTQ plus flag in the background, and they're literally crying on a 22-second video. You sad, pathetic little idiot. There's nothing to justify this, you fake fan. Get out of the fandom. I'm not going to be nice to these people anymore. Right? Because they've been rude to me for the last 5 fucking years. So the apron strings are fucking off now. Right? This is full-blooded war. Right? You want to take me on? Take me fucking on. You'll be left in me fucking wake like every other fucking little moron that tried to take me fucking on. I've had enough of all of you now. Get out of this fandom. Seriously. Get out. Right, anyway, I'm going to leave it there before I do say too much and get myself actually into trouble. So join me tomorrow where I bash this even further because I will be bashing, and I'll be bashing those fans as well. So come and join me. I don't give a fuck anymore. Join me. I'll be bashing everything. Right, we're out of here. I'll see you later. Thank you everybody for the super chats. Thanks everybody in the chat as well for taking part. And as I said, to all my panel, Real Super Doctor, the Wolfenstorm, Signal Letter, Marty, Problem Big, and the Queen. Thank you very much for coming on, and I will see you all very soon. Have a good one.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
New Year it's not a great start to the new year, I have to say, but Happy New Year.
Bye.
Have a good one. Oh, and yeah.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, there we go. Happy New Year there. Yeah. And RTD, if you're watching,